Back with you Thursday with their normal show. But tonight, 5:45 TBS or wherever you get your Braves broadcast for Braves and Phillies in a big series with Acuna back. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America. Hey friends, if you're looking to expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money. Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Rhoback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Rhoback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at Rhoback.com. If you're looking to expand business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us. Send an email to sales@nextroundlive.com to be a part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platform. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, and reach the most desirable audience for your business. Get information and more by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios. The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, live show now as we go on a Wednesday. A lot of people probably rolling around thinking it's a Tuesday after the holiday weekend. Hope you're ready to roll and talk a lot of college football today, but boy, the SEC football coaches have been talking down in Destin. We'll hear from them coming up. Not a great night for the Braves. We'll talk about them. We have new projections for the college football world out there. But first, while we're all wearing the same type of T-shirt, LT.
Yeah, so we've got summer colors. I've always wanted us to have our three NFL team colors represented with the Next Round brand, and I think they're all perfect summer colors. I don't know how you guys feel about this.
Yeah, we all have teams that are summer color teams. They are not like hardcore playing the snow color teams. We all have summer color teams.
So our man Matt Wagner put these things together for us. He thought the best contrast for the Dolphins was on a gray.
I love this. Honestly, I do. I love. First time I saw it, as soon as it came out of the box, when they arrived here, I was like, I like yours. No offense. I think the gray one looks better for you too. But the gray for me and you and the blue for Lance, those are the best ones.
Well, we
This
talked
isn't in
about
gray, is it?
Huh?
There isn't.
I
a
thought
gray.
there was a gray one on
there's
there.
not a
Remember?
gray.
Oh, my apologies.
We've talked about the white would pop a little bit more with the orange. And we needed one white T-shirt, and I think that one went the best. And then
Yeah.
obviously the blue. So three
I
different
like the
colors.
white one the best with you guys, Jim. It looks the best.
Yeah.
It's
Sorry.
incredible.
Yeah.
But look, it's got the nice creamsicle with a little pewter in there. The original kind of red of the for the next round. So these are going to be available. We are currently working on the TNR code. I think it's going to be TNR 20. Doing these for Father's Day, too. So we're going to have 20% off. Should be pretty awesome. Got a lot of feedback when we were down at the landing this weekend. Lake Martin had a couple of these shirts out. We've got one more new edition Forrester's got on back there.
What team color is this?
Carolina blue.
It is. Look at North Carolina. Ain't no tar on those hills back there, Scott.
And that's just a good-looking
shirt.
Yeah, it really
I like
is.
it. I like it.
Whether you're a Carolina fan or not.
Was that designed by Jordan Hudson? Did we get her
maybe.
Did we get her approval?
Maybe she wants to see her man in it. Would he be a double XLs in ours?
Hey, I wear a double XL. They run. I always tell people these shirts, I think maybe run a size
Well, they're
small.
next level. It's really good
They're
material.
very good shirts. If you want them tight, go with the size you normally wear. If you're like me and you don't like clothes touching your body, maybe size up a size, which is what I do with
I
ours.
made that mistake yesterday when I gave back my extra large and went to the large.
Yeah. Not enough weight of wellness to get in that large.
I
shirt.
didn't know what I had on. I just had to rip the tag out. It's an XL.
Yeah.
So
I'm a tight 173 right now, and the large fits fine right now. One wash later, and it'll be a Maggie shirt.
Well, if you had the XL, you couldn't show your tattoo off. So
That's
the
true.
large does work for the
That's true.
bicep.
Yeah, I've been working on a new tattoo. I have not come up with it yet, so I'm going to have one more, I think, before I die.
Hunter says the blue is an Instacop. Michael says birthday's coming up. I'll hit it up. I like Scott's shirt. AK says y'all got to have matching hats now. Well, let's see how the shirts do. We'll go with the hats, right?
The hats will be here.
Oh, are they coming?
Yeah.
We've already ordered.
We've already ordered.
All right.
Yeah, hats are a little more difficult to get in than T-shirts. But the
Okay.
hats were put in a couple of weeks ago. They should be here today or tomorrow.
Hunter also says Dreamsicle orange pops on that white, Dunaway.
I think so.
That's the suggestion, right?
Yeah.
Could be mistaken for Tennessee when you throw in
Maybe a little bit.
the shorts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Color coordinated all the way
Go
throughout.
Vols. Jimmy Dunaway of VFL, baby.
Yeah, Bo said, "Did you plan on those shorts with that shirt?" I was like, "Of course
Please,
I
how
did."
long have you known me, Bo?
These shorts don't hang out in the wild. You
Yeah.
had to plan on wearing.
Yeah,
these
I
things.
personally like the creamsicle. You can call it Tennessee orange. We could have gone with the Knicks orange, which is one of the worst oranges out there because you're a massive Knicks fan.
I am.
Tough
we're
loss last
cooked.
night, Jim.
We're cooked.
Boy, I have enjoyed the heck out of that series.
Yeah,
though.
the tough loss was the.
Oh, yeah, game one.
Game one. You almost lost it in regulation.
This
yeah.
thing should be 2-2 going back to New York.
really should
but
be, yeah.
It's over. Do you guys think Ben Stiller, that was his first road game ever?
Probably. I'm going to say Ben Stiller doesn't follow the Knicks on the road very
Do you
much.
see him crack back at McAfee?
Oh, I did not.
Basically called him weird because McAfee was on the microphone calling out him and Timothy Chalamet.
So last night, as these shirts will be available, not yet, but available soon in the store. So check that out, nextround.store, nextround.store.
Yeah, probably today. We'll update you during the show.
Yeah, okay. We'll update you during the show on that. Pacers 3-1 lead now over the Knicks. They win last night. Tyrese Halliburton, 32 points, 12 rebounds, 15 assists, no turnovers, being called one of the greatest NBA playoff games of all time.
Well, that's impossible. I mean, since they started keeping these statistics, 76, 77, nobody has ever had that line. I mean, when you go 15 turnovers, 30-plus points.
15 assists, no
15
turnovers.
Yeah, 15 assists,
yeah. 15
no
turnovers.
turnovers. Yeah, 12 rebounds
Yeah.
with 30-plus points. I mean, that's pretty incredible. And obviously it's, in the close to 50 years they've been keeping up with the statistic, it's never been done in the postseason.
He was Halliburton really voted one of the most overrated players by his peers?
No,
or is this just
he was voted the most overrated
by
player.
his peers.
Yeah,
that
by
was
the players,
That
yeah.
was an anonymous vote by the players, right? And Tyrese Halliburton was voted overrated. As of right now, they appear to be incorrect on that. I mean, Halliburton has been tremendous in this postseason, hasn't he?
He has been incredible. I mean, you saw the game winner against the Bucks. I mean, obviously, you saw the shot in game one of this. You know, I think when people start to look at, Joel Embiid, can't stay healthy.
Yep.
A couple of years ago, it probably would have been a guy like Ben Simmons. I just can't believe Halliburton would even be on that list.
Yeah, I really can't either. But the way he's played in this postseason, Dunaway, you mentioned the shot that probably changed this entire series. Well, no probably to it. The shot that changed this entire series, and it came from Halliburton. I mean, he's been at the center of this entire series.
And down 3-1, insurmountable basically in the NBA in a 7-game series. But looking ahead, if you do get Pacers and the Thunder, do you think this is going to be the lowest rated NBA Finals ever?
Yep. Very little sex appeal in a Pacers-Thunders NBA Finals.
The Thunder could end up being the third most wins in NBA history, one of the greatest teams of all time. Their average age, as we spoke of in the NCAA tournament, slightly less than what the Auburn men's basketball team was this year for their NCAA tournament Final Four run. Their average age is just over 24 years. They're a young team. They're dynamic. They built through the draft. Oklahoma City tonight hosting Minnesota. They're up 3-1, 7:30 on ESPN for that. Lance's Lock, where you get all your plays, brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Tell us about Lance's Lock and our friends at Hemp Hill.
Yeah, not good. We had the Knicks last night. They cut it to 6 with about 4 or 5 minutes, and they were kind of hovering around and just never could get over the hump. Just Jalen Brunson, only 3 shots in the fourth quarter. Coming into the playoffs, most people believed he was the best closer in the NBA. Didn't play like it on the road last night. Now they're in that 1-3 hole. Lance's Lock will have a free play up and available tonight. NBA, Major League Baseball, jump on, win with us. Always brought to you by the name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Hemp Hill Services. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there, 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
And more storms in the area. It continues. Before we go to Destin and talk SEC football, I want to remind you that Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing there for you to jump on that roof and handle all storm repairs for you. In fact, Greg has a builder's license. He can do some of the repairs for you with his crew. They are fantastic. When it's not storm damage, if you're just wondering about what the wind and thunder and lightning has done to your roof, he can give you a free no-cost roof inspection, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531. Our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing and Greg from Pell City on Facebook. They're A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. For over 20 years, they've been locally owned. You see Andrea and him in a picture there with me. It's family business. That's all you need to know. It's a family business. They treat you like family. So many of our viewers have used them over the years and just talk about what a great service Greg provides them. Having a great roofer on standby, so important as a homeowner. Free inspection, as I said, full roof replacement, roofing repairs, storm damage. He handles it all. 205-542-3531 or Greg from Pell City on Facebook. All right, let's talk about some SEC football as the meetings, football coaches center stage yesterday, meeting with Greg Sankey. And the biggest concern down there, Tyler, if you will give me, cut number 4 is what Kirby Smart says is. What do you think Kirby says the biggest concern for college football coaches should be?
I think it is trying to retain a roster when you've got guys that can transfer at any moment with no penalty.
That is spot on.
Okay.
Cut number 4, Tyler. This is Kirby Smart. On to him, all the playoff discussion, all the NIL discussion, it's second to Kirby Smart, and I agree with him. This is his biggest concern.
I think of this meeting, and I think everybody in this room is 8 or 9, SEC championship or not, settlement. The biggest decision that has to be made in college football right now, by far, to me, by far, is when is the portal window and is there 1 or 2? Okay, that's not being decided by us today. A lot of people don't even know how it's getting decided, who's deciding it. But I need you to think for a second. There is a strong contingent. We had an AFCA meeting. We had a meeting in which we unanimously decided that there really needed to be 1 portal window. Whatever that is what it is. And it needs to happen sometime in January. There is an outcry. There is schools, there's different conferences that feel like it should not fall during the play-in season. I would love that. I would love to be able to play the season without it. Is basketball able to do that, or do they deal with the portal during their championship? I'm asking.
They do.
During the tournament. What do we deal with during the final, let's call it maybe 4 teams? I don't know if I'm exactly right on that, but roughly we're down to 4. We deal with that. Okay, that's because of the academic calendar for us. It's where the academic calendar falls, and everybody doesn't have that incongruency. Oh, by the way, we had to deal with that multiple times. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's really hard to be playing in a championship setting and having to deal with that. But when I brought that up as a complaint or a problem, it was told to me, there's no crying from the yacht.
There's no crying from the yacht. What a good
I've
line.
never heard that.
I haven't either. That's a really good line.
I like it.
But it is a big concern.
Yeah.
But that, to me, that's all I want to know. Who's on my roster? And I really want to know for how long. I want to know we'll use Ryan Williams, cover guy from the EA Sports at Alabama. I want to know, is Ryan Williams committed to Alabama for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years? I want to know if Cam Coleman is a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year guy at Auburn. When can they leave? Who's going to be on my team next year? Am I developing a quarterback room, or am I developing a quarterback every year? Those are the things I want to know. As a fan, I want to know who's on my team. As a coach, I'm sure I want to know who's on my team.
So this is coming from a coach that many believe got shook down right before the playoffs by a lower tier group of players, not his high tier group of players, but a lower tier group of players to get more money. Basically, you're not going to be able to practice for the playoffs without us if we walk, so we need some money to stay. I mean, that's the belief, right, with Georgia. That was the belief that they were the program.
That was some conversation,
Yeah, it was the belief that Georgia was the program that had to deal with that in the college football playoffs. And he's right. Kirby's not wrong, Lance. The playoff window, or excuse me, the portal window is open during the playoffs. In fact, the first signing day to go with this is actually the week of the first playoff games.
Yeah,
it's just insane, the calendar we
There's
have.
really no way you can go from fall semester and then go through spring practice, because that's going to be different for everyone. And if you cut it off in January, you are going to have a handful of teams that are playing. I mean, really, the only way you're going to be able to regulate this is become employees.
It's easy.
Yeah.
It's an easy regulation. It's an easy regulation.
That's the only way you're going to be able to do it now that you have opened what you have opened up. I don't know another way to put guardrails on this.
It is not an expensive regulation, but it is a very easy regulation. If we'll use Ryan Williams. He's a great example for this. If Ryan Williams comes out of Saraland High School and picks Alabama, and Alabama's like, Ryan, we want to put you on a 3-year scholarship, and here's what we're going to pay you over 3 years. And Ryan says, Alabama's where I want to be, and that's a great deal for 3 years. I am in.
When you say 3 years, we always assume, okay, he's going to go to the NFL. So we will say 3 years with a fourth-year option. Fourth-year player option.
Sure, and there are ways you can do it. And listen, there might be a guy, Lance, that I don't know of an example of this. Let's use John Mateer since he transferred. John Mateer might go to Washington State and be like, I only want to do a 1-year deal, because I think I can ball out, and I might transfer out of here. And Washington State may be like, we'll take that chance.
Absolutely.
So you'll have some guys.
Yeah, or there might be a school that only wants to give a guy a 1-year deal.
That's right. You're borderline for us. We don't know if you can play for us, but we'll give you a 1-year deal to see. And if it works out.
We've got a young quarterback.
Yep.
We'll use Keelan Russell as an example at Alabama. 5-star guy. He's not going to be our guy this year, so we need a 1-year contract quarterback.
Right. And
we need a Kirk Cousins.
And if Ohio State wants Caleb Downs, it's in Caleb Downs' contract. It's in black and white print in Caleb Downs' contract what it will cost Ohio State to get Caleb Downs, and that money goes to the University of Alabama.
Yeah, and that softens the blow, because then you can go out and you can use that money that you've already used once that you're just losing on Caleb Downs to get another.
I need a new Caleb Downs, Lance. So now I'm going to go shopping for Keon Sapp
They
in
don't make
Michigan.
any more of those, Brown.
You're
sorry.
right. You're right. But
That's not in stock.
But I'm going to go shopping. It's not at nextround.store.
Yeah. Can I get you a white T-shirt with a great logo on it?
So I'm going to go to Michigan and get Keon Sapp, and I'm going to go Michigan less than what probably Ohio State paid me for Caleb Downs. But I'm, with all due respect to Keon Sapp, very nice player, but he's not, to Jim's point, he's not Caleb Downs. I mean, that's the easiest fix for all of this. And I don't know if a coach like Kirby has a stomach for that. I would think so, but that's the easiest fix.
We'll talk about a lot of things from SEC meetings as we go on, but you heard Kirby say at the beginning of that, the biggest thing, we're discussing a lot of things. And the biggest thing isn't SEC championship game or not, 9-game schedule or not. It's this. Are we really discussing SEC championship game or not? That jumped out at me. Are we discussing that?
I mean,
is that really being discussed?
Sark was asked about it yesterday.
I mean, last year, obviously, I watched it. You guys watched it. There was drama because of the Carson Beck situation. But these games have become irrelevant.
Lance.
Well, it's a championship. We get a trophy.
Georgia's
got it.
Don't care. I mean, it's just like the basketball tournaments now. The SEC basketball tournament does absolutely nothing.
No, the SEC regular season championship. That's a big
but
trophy.
you can still have a regular season champion.
Yeah, in football. We did it for years without a college.
So last year that would have been Texas?
Yep. They would have earned it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't always work out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not always the best team.
So we'd have co-champions sometimes?
We had that for years. Yeah. I mean, you count the Alabama ones where they were co-champions, don't you?
I'm sure I do.
I mean,
you do. Look at your tattoo. You tell me.
I know there are some people that still love this, but there was a time we were doing a show where it was Can't Miss. Like, we had to be there.
No doubt.
It was outside of the national championship, second biggest game of the year.
The atmosphere was incredible. How many do you think you've been to SEC championship games?
All of them, but 3.
That's like 27, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
haven't they done it 30 years?
Yeah, this is coming up on 33.
Yeah.
So
I've been to 20 plus.
All right, but you weren't at this one. You've been to 20 plus. I've been to 20 plus. You've been to almost 30, it sounds like.
I feel like I'll never go to another one.
Rate the atmosphere 1 to 30 of the Georgia-Texas game before it started.
Before it started?
Yeah, before it started.
It was probably the lowest
Lowest you'd ever seen, right? Because the fan base, it was Texas' first SEC championship game. It should have been a raucous environment.
I think Mississippi State played in one, right?
They played against
98, Tennessee.
I wasn't at that one.
I was not at that one.
Arkansas played in one.
They played against
Florida.
I
wasn't at that one.
I wasn't at that one either.
Well, they played against Florida twice.
And then I had my unfortunate butt surgery, and I didn't go to that one that week.
That was Auburn in Georgia?
It was after the...
No. That was at 2017. What
it
year
was
it?
2017.
Was it? Yeah, it was Auburn, Georgia then. It was the rematch, Auburn, Georgia.
Auburn, Georgia rematch.
But you were there. You felt the atmosphere. It did not feel like an SEC
I mean,
championship.
2008, 2009,
Oh,
2012.
I felt like I was watching the national championship
2008, 2009 is a pinnacle. I mean,
well, 2012 was right there too with Alabama and Georgia.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's been some great games.
I mean,
it was at one point the second biggest game of the college football season behind the BCS National Championship, and now it just doesn't mean a lot.
To put the 2012 in perspective, Lance almost stayed for that whole game.
I almost
that shows
did.
you how big that game was.
Yeah.
I would have if it wouldn't have been for the overturned call. And I forgot who I thought he had picked Aaron Murray off.
Yeah.
Yep. Give me cut 5, Tyler. Here's Steve Sarkisian talking.
Is this on the championship game?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
good.
As I try to tie sound bites into conversations.
But I want to come back. I don't want to leave this. I was
we're
hoping
not
you were
leaving.
Okay.
I'm adding to it, Brown.
All right, good.
Pretend we're in a kitchen, and I'm adding some
this
spice into it.
Is he an egg?
This is Steve Sarkisian, Texas Longhorn head coach for Brownie there on the SEC championship game.
It means something to win an SEC championship, and anybody that tells you it's diminished, they're lying. It means a lot. It means a lot in our building, and I'm sure in everybody else's building, to those players. And so I think one of the challenges of that is, in a lot of other sports, they have a regular season champion, and then they have a conference tournament champion. We don't have that in football. Last year we were a 7-1 team at the end of the regular season. I think Georgia was 6-2, and there was a few 6-2 teams.
Humble brag.
And then we played Georgia, and we got beat. And Georgia was the conference champion last year. And so, what is that going to look like moving forward? Are we just not going to have a conference champion, or are we going to have a regular season champion, and that's it? How is this all going to play out? But I also looked at it from our fans' perspective. That was a lot on our fans, to say, we're going to go to Atlanta and play a conference championship game. Then we had to play the first round of the playoffs, and then we had to go back to Atlanta for the Peach Bowl. Then we had to go to Dallas. And so you're putting a lot on fans to start to travel, different than in some of the other sports tournaments where they have, like this weekend in baseball, we got 4 teams coming to Austin that are all competing to get to a super regional and things of that nature. So I just think we've got to do a great job from a college football perspective to really look at it from every angle, and to say what's best for our sport.
So what would be the drawback to not having an SEC championship game for you two?
Outside of the tradition over the last 33 years, nothing.
Jim?
Yeah, I mean, the history of it all.
So in other words,
and a ton of co-champions, which I don't have a problem with. I mean, the ones that don't make sense, okay? The co-champions that don't make sense to me was, I think, 19 – when did Alabama and Auburn play for the first time in the Plains? 89?
89.
89.
You had Tennessee, Auburn, and Alabama all shared it.
Yeah, I think it was a three-way tie.
Alabama had beaten Tennessee, Tennessee had beaten Auburn, and Auburn beat Alabama.
That's right.
So there was no way to break the tie.
Yeah. That didn't feel like an SEC championship season to Alabama Jim.
Right.
Because they lost to Auburn.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you lost the last game.
Yeah.
If it had been, I would submit to you, had you lost to Tennessee and beaten Auburn, and it still worked out that way, it would have felt more like a championship because you'd won the last game.
Because you'd won the last game. Exactly. Like Alabama Jim in 2017 felt very much like national champions.
Yeah.
Even though they had lost to Auburn, they beat Georgia and won the national championship.
Yeah, played 2 more games.
They won the last game.
Yeah.
Winning the last game does make a difference there. Really no huge problem. No huge problem if we don't play it.
I mean, it's one of those things, Lance, I never thought I would say I'm fine if they don't play it. I never thought I would say that. It was such a fun game.
I didn't think there was ever a world we lived in where they wouldn't play it because of the revenue it brings in.
But now if you tell me, all right, argue for keeping it, it's kind of a hard argument for me. To make an impassioned plea to keep the SEC championship game is a tough argument for me.
But what are we going to replace it with? Okay, if we replace that weekend with the first round of the playoffs, the college football playoffs, where you have 1 versus 16, 2 versus
on
15,
campus.
3 versus 14, 4 I
understand that. Let's get it's a much better day.
If
by
we
the
go
way.
to 16 teams, and we start it that weekend.
Yeah, so I've got 8 games instead of 2 or 3.
I got 8 games, and some of them may suck. It's going to be 1
versus
versus 16.
You got conference championship games that suck.
I got NCAA tournament games that suck.
They're not all going to be great.
6.
In fact, most of them are probably not going to be great in the first round.
Virginia can't play in all those 1 and 16 games to make them interesting. So 1 and 16, and all that happens on that weekend. Then okay, let's get rid of them. Let's go to 16 teams, and let's get rid of them, but start the playoffs then. So we can still have a pretty magical January 1st with 3 big games, and then the calendar works out.
It's going to be a tough schedule. I mean, I don't know. I guess you play 4 Friday, 4 Saturday, right? And there'll be some overlap.
No, I mean, at that point, you have overlap.
That's what I'm saying.
You open it up, and Fox broadcast games.
Do you play all 8 on Saturday? Is that what you're saying?
I'd be okay with that.
Ooh. Yeah, no, because you're going to double up.
Yeah. Why would you not go 4 and 4? Why would you not go 4 Friday, 4 Saturday?
Because Mr. Commissioner.
All right.
We got rivalry Saturday. Who's going to get screwed and have to play the short week?
Well, I would.
No, Jim, you make too much sense.
I mean,
don't come in here in your cool white shirt. It makes sense.
8 on one day. That's too many huge games.
I mean,
we have a lot of huge games on a given Saturday on rivalry Saturday. We have a lot of huge games.
Let me play the other side of that.
We never have 8.
Let me play the other side of that. Though.
Some of those aren't going to be good games.
Yeah, let me play the other side of that, though, Lance. As I think this through, you've always got 2 games on. You stagger the start time so they don't finish at the same time. But you've always got 2 games on that Saturday. So here's what that does. Well, it hurts your TV ratings a little bit.
You say that, but when do you? So 11 o'clock?
I think you would start at 11 and 11:30, and then you would start at 2:30 and 3, and then you would start. I'm going to run out of time.
You are,
yeah. I don't think you can do 4.
It's really impossible unless you're guaranteed Oregon and USC hosting home games.
And that's the problem. You can't do 4 because the West Coast chooses not to participate in this playoff far too often, and that's a difficulty.
They don't choose. They've been relinquished to the West Coast where football's not big anymore. 3, 3, and 2 is the way you go.
3, 3, and 2. Give me that schedule.
3 at 11, 3 at 2:30, and 2 at prime time.
Wow, so I got 3 on now.
Yeah, you got a lot of TV partners.
Sports bars will love this.
Yeah.
I think
or as we call it, any given Saturday.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to bite the bullet and play on Friday.
Yeah, you've at least got to have 1 primetime Friday game.
1 Friday game, maybe 2 Friday games.
And I don't know who draws the short straw on that.
Okay. Who do you go with? 1 and 16?
Well, I mean, you could.
Well, then that's punishing 1, right?
Yeah, it's punishing 1. And it's also a blowout on a standalone game.
What if you go?
What if you have a play-in Friday if you didn't have 16?
Yeah.
Friday now we're just really going to expand
Now
it.
you're adding games. Anyway, more
You can
on.
do 8-9. You can say, look, you guys are the 8-9 seeds. You should have played better. Y'all are.
Well, I mean, I'm 8-9. I'm better than 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16.
Yeah, but you're not better than 1 through 7 who are getting the home games.
Yeah,
8-9
may virtually be your best game of the weekend.
It may be. Now it's going to be on a Friday night standalone.
Yeah, I think we're overthinking it. 3, and 2, 1 and 16 is going to be a blowout. So I don't want that to be a
3,
standalone
3, and
game.
2, it would be a fun day. I don't disagree with you at all. It would be a fun day. The problem is it's not going to give the network the massive singular game rating that they want. But if you combine all the ratings together, they're going to be massive.
That's right. That anyway, that 16-team model is growing some traction. We'll talk about that in our next segment. One more thing in our opening segment here after LT tells us about our friends at Twin Peaks, where in 3D you can get some of the coldest beer and the best views in town.
Hey, so final rankings, though, as I pull the copy for Twin Peaks, it would have been Clemson and Oregon last year. Do you think that would have been a blowout?
Clemson, Oregon was what game?
No, that would have been 116. I mean, I'm just talking about final rankings.
That's better game than a normal 116 would be. That's true. Sometimes that 16 is going to be a Clemson. It's not always, the 16 is not always going to be Northern Illinois or the group of 5.
We're going by straight seeding now.
That's right.
So it's going to be the group of 5 every year. Every year.
Well, it would not have been this year. Boise wouldn't have been ranked that low.
Yeah, Boise.
If we go to a true seeding, Boise State would not have been one of the top 16 teams.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they would have.
Crap. Okay.
Yeah, 1 loss
All right.
Boise or 3 loss Clemson.
1 loss Boise against a nothing schedule is not the same as a 3-loss team in the Big Ten and the SEC.
Okay, so then how was
we can prop these guys up all you want, but it's not the same. Go ahead and do this so we can take a commercial break. Not one more thing this time. We got to get a couple of sponsors in here. Full slate today. Tell me about Twin Peaks. We're going to talk football for the whole show.
Okay, Tyrese Halliburton, give me 1 second.
Just got to get it all in. Tell us about Twin Peaks.
Hey, Countdown to Miss Twin Peaks 2025 is on. Voting for Miss Popular officially live. Head over to 2025misstwinpeaks.com to learn more about the contest. Cast your 5 votes for your favorite Twin Peaks girls. And don't forget about happy hour. No one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference. They've got everything from tequila cocktails, an extensive bourbon category, to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over the ice balls, local craft beers, handcrafted whiskey cocktails, round out an adventurous drink menu second to none. And don't forget about those 29-degree drafts. It's all happening right there at one of those great locations of Twin Peaks.
And you can go see America in an RV from Johnston RV Center, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, always online, johnstonrvcenter.com, johnstonrvcenter.com. Listen, a price range for just about everybody there with approved credit as low as $129 a month and all the way up to those motorhomes, the fifth wheels, the toy haulers, the tow behinds, all those right there at Johnston RV Center. And a lifetime warranty from RV Warranty Forever on anything that is new or qualifying pre-owned at Johnston RV. JohnstonRVCenter.com.
And our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, guys, stay on top of your health. Early detection is literally life-saving. 205-930-0920. 205-930-0920, UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Go and check them out. 16 locations, 35 urologists, prostate health to kidney stones, vasectomies. They handle it all for you, and they help you stay healthy as you move from your 20s to your 30s, 30s to 40s, and so on. Urology Centers of Alabama, 205-930-0920, UrologyCentersAlabama.com.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama-born, Alabama-raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of my lawyers.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone, the New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Hey, you. Days warming up, looking like spring. And at New Balance Birmingham, we've got the thing. What pops and what's fresh? Check the selects. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation states that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, before Brownie tells us about A+, the one other thing I wanted to get to in the first segment, but it's okay here because it hasn't happened yet. But today is Tahaad Pettiford Watch Day. Deadline's tonight at 11:59 Central Time. The belief is, from people I talk to, that Tahaad Pettiford's going to come back to Auburn. But we'll see. It's got to be official. Maybe the announcement coming during the show today. We'll find out. But I don't think he's been guaranteed a first-round draft pick.
He is not.
And the smart money would be to come back and work out a deal for some good cash. And this guy's a potential All-American next year who could play his way higher into the first round, get guaranteed, make some money this year as a starter and more playing time. He only played 22 minutes a game last year and averaged 11 points.
Yeah, look, and if you watched a lot of Pettiford, which a lot of our audience did, you know how much upside this kid's got. He plays a lot bigger than 6 and change just because of the lift and the explosion the guy's got. He can obviously shoot the eyes out. I agree with you. I think if he comes back, he's going to be a preseason all-SEC first-team guy. I was talking to some Auburn fans a couple of weekends ago, and they were like, it's just not a big deal if he comes back or not.
Oh,
what?
Yeah, I swear.
Yeah.
Are you kidding
If
me?
he comes back, they're a top 10 preseason team. If he doesn't come back, they're not. It's that big.
Oh, I think it is massive, and I think it's really big for Pettiford. But if I'm Pettiford, and I guarantee you this is also going on behind the scenes, when you start to look at money that is out there right now and what some of these guys are getting, you brought up P.J. Haggerty yesterday. And what is the number he settled on?
2.3 million. Yax is getting $3 million. I think that's where that number is settling close to at Michigan.
Yeah, so that should be around the number between $2 and $3 million. And if you're not guaranteed to get selected in the first round, you're not guaranteed a spot on the roster.
Yeah, I would say Pettiford probably had already agreed to a price
at Auburn. Yeah,
before
he knows what the money will be coming back.
He knows what's left, and maybe your agent can get a little bit more money.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You come up on the 11th hour, you're like, I think our guy's going to go. Well, we can pull $250,000 more for this year.
Yeah. So I expect good news today, and I get the feeling you do too.
I do too, yeah.
And you do too. You don't think he's going to stay in the NBA?
I would think.
You've said many times on the air he should come back.
I think both he and Phylon should have come back, yes. Phylon's not going to.
So we'll keep an eye on that. If that breaks, you'll hear Taylor squeal from the other room, screech, something. She'll scream. And then we'll put Auburn in the preseason top 10 again. Congratulations to a guy we met a couple of summers ago at Ocean City, Maryland, when we were up at the Residence Inn. Coach Sean Burke, who listens to us and watches us up on the coast there, the Atlantic coast. He's a high school lacrosse coach. They just won their state championship in Maryland.
Oh, wow.
Wait, Brownie.
Okay.
And was just named yesterday the national champions. Calvert Hall in the USA lacrosse rankings, number 1 in the nation. So one of our viewers and listeners, big Bama fan, by the way, Calvert Hall head coach. Congratulations to that team on their championship run. How about that?
Wow, the royalty that was up in Ocean City.
I
that
know.
Weekend. Do you think our Army basketball coach will ever win a national championship?
When Jim started the sentence, I was like,
did he get a job?
What did I miss on Kevin Kuick, the Army head coach? Yeah. What happened there?
They're getting closer to contending for an NCAA tournament bid and winning that league.
That's huge, man.
Way to go, Coach Burke and his wonderful family there. It was nice seeing them a couple of summers ago. Sounds like a Morgan Wallen song a couple of summers ago. All right, Brownie, tell us about A+. We'll get back into our argument on whether or not Boise State could have beaten left-out SEC teams Alabama, Ole Miss, and Missouri.
I just think you've got flawed thinking here. You do.
You do. On last year's Boise team, you do.
No, I'll tell you where your flaw is, I personally believe. But anyway, AlabamaBathroomModels.com. That's the website you're going to want from this. AlabamaBathroomModels.com. That is Brad Bell. The guy that redid the master bath in the Brown house. You can see before and afters. Scott shows you those. You can see them right there at AlabamaBathroomModels.com, as well as some other before and after photos from the work they have done throughout our audience. Basically, you guys have showed out with Brad. I mean, it's constant from our audience. But, hey, spread the word. He's obviously not limited to just people that watch or listen to this show. If you know people that need somebody to do some work in their home, he specializes in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. That's his specialty. Not to say it's all he does, but it is his specialty. You can get him to come out and look at your job by giving him a call, 205-422-1758, 205-422-1758, or go online, AlabamaBathroomModels.com. AlabamaBathroomModels.com. That is Brad Bell. Listen, get that house up to date. Increase the sell value of your house when it goes to the market by keeping it updated. AlabamaBathroomModels.com or 205-422-1758.
Brown's going to tell me the flaw in my thinking is that a selection committee, because Boise State only lost one game, would have had them ranked somewhere higher than the 16th seed. AD Scott Strickland yesterday at SEC meetings pointing out that this is likely he didn't say this, I'm reading between the lines here, that this is the last year of the selection committee. It is growing between Big Ten and SEC coaches the belief that the selection committee is not the best way to select the college football playoff. The best way to do that is with computers, power rankings, much the way the NCAA tournament seeds its tournament.
Still a human element.
Yeah.
But the flaw in your thinking, and I think Lance would agree with this, is that the group of 5 is always going to be the 16 seed. That is not the case. You think they will? Always.
If they are factoring in strength of schedule, always.
Not last year.
If they don't factor in strength of schedule, LT, that team would not have held up against anybody.
Let me ask you this:
playoffs.
who was the best regular season team last year?
The best regular
Oregon, easy.
Okay. Well, they played in Eugene and lost by 3.
Yeah.
That was their one loss done away. Impossible that they would have been 16. Absolutely impossible. You think they're going to be like the number 1 seed Oregon, who only beat this team by 3, their only loss. We're going to put them all the way down at 16.
And
it would have been human, computers. Everybody would have had Boise in the top 10 last year. 1,000%.
And I think you're incorrect about this, because here's what a human looks like. Now, a computer may not, but keep in mind, a human is inputting data into this computer and telling this computer what to think. The computer doesn't come with this on its own.
The old BCS, I don't know what it would do now, but the old BCS factored in some human polls.
Yeah, it did, and I think you would continue to do that. But with that being said, the human way of looking at this is freaking Alabama had their chance. They go to Oklahoma and embarrass themselves when they're playing for a college football player. Clemson, are you kidding me? Clemson, they snuck into the ACC championship game only because Miami threw up all over their cleats at Syracuse. And oh, by the way, now I got to put Miami in this thing, who threw up all over their cleats at Syracuse when they had every chance to lock down a spot here.
Don't get caught on the 12 line. Remember, we're talking 16.
Oh, I know,
here,
but I'm telling you, those are the types of teams that they've got to move in front of Boise State. And I think the human tells you the human way of thinking, whether it's Boise State or you think this year maybe Memphis, or in years to come, maybe, I don't know, you give me a team. Any of those teams, the way of thinking is those teams did what they were supposed to do. Was it against a weaker schedule? Yes. But Florida, Ole Miss, I got to put Ole Miss in this thing. They go to Florida to lock a spot down and throw up all over their cleats. That's where human thinking will keep those teams from always being number 16.
Okay, but if Boise State had to go to Florida, would they not throw up on their cleats?
But they didn't. I don't know. They went to Oregon and lost by 3. You tell me.
That was one game to start the year. By the end of the year, you think the wear and tear of a schedule, it wears on you, man.
I don't know. Florida was a better team at the end. If they played Florida week 3, you think Boise could have won that game in Gainesville?
On, they could have, yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying, I think when you involve the human element, the human way of thinking, and I think this is what you're saying, Lance, is I look at all these power conference teams, and I'm like, I'm putting them in the playoffs, but these teams have backed into the playoffs. And
when you only have one marquee game really on your schedule, at least out of conference, everybody's going to magnify that game. And the fact of the matter is they lost by 3 on the road.
Yeah, but okay, this is the discussion that Greg Sankey is having, and a lot of the ADs and coaches are having. Where is the fairness in the sport if the SEC has to play its schedule and the Big Ten has to play its schedule, and you're going to reward a group of 5 team?
The fairness is,
but where's the fairness? Seed? Like they don't play that schedule though. I mean, they play what's in front of them.
The fairness is, to me, Jim, the fairness is Alabama and Ole Miss and Miami and Clemson and South Carolina get a ton of runway that Boise doesn't get.
Yep.
That's the fairness, is you get all the runway.
Group of 5 is going to have a slot. It's one team. They're going to get in. They just have to be the best group of 5 teams.
The margin of error is this. We talked about it yesterday. I mean, you do have 4 teams in the SEC every year going to be getting in.
Like Alabama lost at Vandy, lost at Tennessee, and still had every opportunity to get in the playoffs going to Oklahoma. Ole Miss, you got to help me remember the games they lost. I can't remember the games
Kentucky.
they lost. Freaking Kentucky.
Florida.
It was Kentucky's only conference win. South Carolina lost. I mean, if you're an SEC team, you get to lose all these games. You get another chance. If you're Boise, you go to Oregon, you lose by 3. That is your chance.
Yeah, and more so, you don't have, I would say every other year, your Group 5 is probably going to be undefeated. Like, you don't have any room for error.
That's where the fairness is that the SEC and the Big Ten, they get all this runway. And if you're a Group of 5 team, you got no runway whatsoever. You might get to lose against the big name team you're playing, but you better not lose another one.
Okay, last thought.
Okay,
we get
that's fine.
40 and 40. But I want your reaction to my last thought.
Okay.
So you're telling me that if I'm the 1 seed, that I've earned the number 1 seed, that it is fair when you're laying out a fair tournament, when you're seeding a fair tournament, that the 1 seed should have to play an SEC team or a Big Ten team at 16, and somewhere along the way, the 4th seeded team is going to get Boise State.
But
the Group of 5 team.
It depends on the year, though. I mean, you can't year in, year out just say, hey, the 16 is going to be the Group 5, because there's going to be years Boise State was better than other teams behind them last year. They were.
You think that?
Do you think Oregon wanted to play Boise 116 last year?
Oh, I think they would have rather played Boise than Ohio State for sure.
Yeah, but that would have been your second round.
Then
game.
Ohio State, yeah. But I'm saying would they rather really play Boise than Clemson?
I mean, I would have probably rather played. I'm being honest here. I'm not just saying this for a fact. I would have probably rather played Indiana than Boise.
Or Arizona State.
Indiana didn't have a Ashton Genty.
Yeah.
They did not. I mean, Indiana was a good team, but they did not have an Ashton Genty. Scadaboo's a good running back, but he wasn't Ashton Genty. I mean, again, go look at Oregon and see what – and I know you discount it because it's the first game of the season, but look at what Ashton Genty did on the ground against Oregon. They had no answers.
And I do think there's going to be a lot of years where that Group 5 probably is 16 of 16. I'm just saying it wasn't last year.
When we do this countdown every year, we talk about teams too low, too high. It'll be interesting to see where we are. Before we get to our 40 and 40 countdown, Brown, tell us about our friends at Bojangles.
It can always be bow time for you. Boy, I tell you what, I love a good dipping sauce. That's just one thing I love, and you get them.
We talk behind your back about that.
About how much Brown loves dipping sauces. God, he loves dipping sauce. From sweet to heat, Bojangles has 7 sauces that will definitely add a little extra flavor to every bite. You have a friend that loves dipping sauces, and I recently saw that friend in a local restaurant, and there were like 8 different sauces on the table to dip in.
And my friend Lauren Sossler.
She had a bowl everywhere. Nothing pairs better with sauces than Bojangles hand-breaded tenders. If you're looking for sweet, try honey mustard. Add some tang with barbecue. If you're looking for some heat, try creamy buffalo or peach honey pepper. If you're craving smooth or creamy, house-made ranch, jalapeno ranch, or classic Bo sauce ready and waiting. So head to Bojangles, order some hand-breaded tenders with your favorite sauce today. It's bow time.
And our friends at Champions Boxing, they bring you our 40 and 40 countdown, voted on by you, the viewers, and us, counting us down to SEC Media Days. Champions Boxing, causing you, LT, to lose a little bit of weight.
Oh, yeah. Hey, look, it's great conditioning. I've been working on a lot of conditioning, footwork. It's a different exercise altogether. Again, I've done a lot of things from swimming, Peloton, jumping rope, which, by the way, is part of what we do at Champions. But I'm heading out there later today, located right there in Pelham off of 31 behind the Purple Onion. Boxing for fitness and competition, all ages, starting at 9 years old, 8 USA certified boxing coaches, not only in boxing, strength, and conditioning as well. Coaches have experience, amateur, professional, Olympic levels. Anyone looking for a workup different than just throwing up weights, come check them out. Any former athletes looking to try another sport to compete in after high school and college, you might absolutely love this. Official sports boxing coordinator for the 2025 World Police Fire Games held in Birmingham this July. Team, family-oriented, helps in teaching discipline and fundamentals. Get in, see Akash, Jake, all of the great staff there, and make sure you tell them the next round sent you.
All right, our countdown yesterday was Boise at 31, that powerhouse program from the north. Let's go to the Midwest today at number 30. Here's the big red in there, Nebraska sliding in. Our buddy Matt Rule there, taking a step forward last year, LT.
Well, so you look at Rule, other stops, rebuilds. Temple in year 3. So he goes 2 wins, 6 wins, year 3, 10 wins. Woo. Baylor goes 1 win year 1, 7 wins, 11 wins year 3. We look at the trajectory right now in Lincoln, 5 wins to 7 wins. You look at this schedule, they could be a favorite in 11 games.
This is a schedule tailor-made for a fast start for them.
No Ohio State, no Oregon, no Indiana, no Illinois, and you can give the start to the schedule.
I mean, Cincinnati, now that's at Arrowhead Stadium. I saw on social media they've sold 62,000 tickets for that game already. So they'll have
62,000
in Kansas City. So I don't know what that place holds. I don't know what Arrowhead holds.
And they are currently listed as a 6.5-point favorite in that game.
Now, that is the first Thursday night, 8 Central kick for that one. Then Akron, I don't even know what HCU is.
Houston
Christian. And then Michigan. I mean, that becomes a big game for them, hosting Michigan on Saturday, September 20th, Lance.
I think they're going to be favored against Michigan.
I mean, I would not be surprised at that. After a bye, you host Michigan State, so they got a bunch of home games early. You're at Maryland.
Favored.
You're at Minnesota.
I don't know yet, but I think favored maybe.
And then you host Northwestern.
Favored.
I mean, you're 8 games into this thing. You might be 8-0, getting ready to host USC on the first game of November.
That game.
And then you're at UCLA.
Favored.
So, I mean, there is a path, according to Lance, to be 10-0 before the bye week when you go to Penn State. Now, that's where, what might hit the fan at Penn State.
Yeah, but I think at that point, you're already locked into the playoffs.
You could be at 10-0, and then you finish with Iowa. That's a Black Friday game. You host it. This is such a good Big Ten schedule for our guy, Matt Rule.
So we look at the history, and a lot of people don't believe this when we say it out loud. Nebraska used to be dominant in football. From 1962 to 2001, there were only 2 seasons over that 39-year span where they didn't win 9+ games.
Yeah.
They won 5 national championships over that span, and now they've become an average program. Rule's trying to bring them back. I kind of believe everybody's saying Illinois, and I do think Illinois is going to be good. But I'm starting to think Nebraska. I had them in my top 25, barely cracking it at number 25. But I think they're 9-3, 10-2, and I think they're going to be one of those teams that we will have conversations going into November about getting in.
I had them at 19.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, I
think they're going to be good.
I believe in them.
So I think
I remember a quarterback in Raiola, who's got a year under his belt now.
He does have a year under his belt, but what a lot of people around the Nebraska program are painting as a huge positive is he also now has Dana Holgerson, a very experienced offensive coach, as his offensive coordinator. Our guy, Coach Satterfield, it didn't quite work out for him.
You ready for the 3D?
But you go Dana Holgerson.
Dana Holgerson, Dylan Raiola, and now Dane Key, who you get from Kentucky. You've got to leave Kentucky to go to Nebraska to actually get more touches. Yeah. And this is a receiver that started 3 years at Kentucky, but now he's come in, and he's going to be their big play guy. You also get Elijah Pritchett. Alabama fans will remember that name. And you get Dason McCullough, a linebacker out of Oklahoma, should be an instant impact impact guy. Matt Rule's done a really good job of going in the portal and getting some guys that are immediate starters for this Nebraska program.
Playoff team or not?
Well, here's the thing. I was about to say this. Here's what's crazy is Scott still has that schedule up. Look at that schedule. There is a chance. I don't know if it'll work out this way, but there's a chance they only play one ranked team. Like Michigan might be unranked by the time they get them in week 4. Keep in mind, Michigan has an early game against Oklahoma. Michigan's probably going to start in the bottom half of the top 25. I mean, they could be unranked. I'll say they're ranked. Penn State's certainly going to be ranked when they play them, but sell me on another ranked team on that
maybe
schedule.
USC.
Maybe USC.
Yeah, that's it.
Pull me up November 1st, Big Ten schedule November 1st.
Okay.
Because I'm looking LT at USC, Nebraska. They're the first Saturday in November.
It's going to be your big noon?
That could be the big noon kickoff with playoff implications for both those teams. I think USC's a step up. I think Nebraska's a step up.
Yeah, it could be a big time.
Winner could be that
great helmet game.
Could be that 4th Big Ten playoff team or 5th Big Ten playoff team.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, you figure those 3 teams are there, then you're looking for a 4th, maybe a 5th team.
Yeah, all right, so that is week 10, Jimmy Dunaway. And your Big Ten, why is that giving me one? Hang on. I'm with you. Give me 2 seconds here. Big Ten, there we go. Indiana, Maryland?
Nope.
Michigan, Minnesota?
Nope.
Penn State, Ohio State?
Okay. Poor Ohio State. Right. They'll get to 11, but that could be NBC.
So somebody's going to get a good Nebraska game. You're right. It could be NBC primetime
or CBS.
That's a good game.
Yeah. All right. That's our 40 and 40 countdown today, brought to you by our friends at Champions Boxing. Just a great workout today.
Yeah, it really is. I'll be heading out there later today. Again, if you want something a little different, if you want some structure in your kid's life, they don't have anything to do this summer, this is absolutely perfect. Boxing for fitness and competition, all ages starting at 9 years old. Get in, see Jake, Akash, tell them the Next Round sent you. Located conveniently right off of Highway 31 in Pelham behind the Purple Onion.
Okay, before Tyler tells us about the viewing menu, Outkick's Trey Wallace in the next segment. But before we go to the viewing menu, the Field Rush on Instagram had a great TV show idea with Nick Saban as the host.
So this is Nick Saban hosting a TV show.
Yep. Tyler Brown, maybe LT, Tyler, maybe. Any of you ever watch Kitchen Nightmares?
Oh, yeah. I used to love the BBC version with Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, absolutely.
That's where he just goes in and destroys people.
Well, I mean, well deserved. I mean, you go in and there's like molded cheese that's, 15 years old.
So there's Hell Week, you go in, and then the second week he's rehabbing the kitchen, the restaurant. Field Rush says it would be a fantastic show if Nick Saban would go into college football programs and do 2 weeks. 1 week of Hell Week where he finds all the problems, points out all the problems, and then solves the problems in 1 week. And then the next year he comes back and revisits that program. You can't turn a program around in 2 weeks, but you could lay a foundation of greatness. Would it not be wonderful television from the Field Rush on Instagram? of having Nick Saban roll into Purdue and walk around and just point out all the molded cheese.
Yeah, boy, I bet Barry Odom would love that. The problem,
our coach is a complete idiot.
These chefs and restaurant owners have egos as well. But when they're on Kitchen Nightmares, the publicity, and they're on their last straw, like they're about to go under.
Okay.
And so this is
we
all
start
about
with Jeff Lebby and Starkville?
This is all about refunding. I don't know.
I'm with Lance. I just don't.
I would love to see it.
I would too. It'd be fascinating to watch. But I'm with Lance. Basically, now my fan base is like, God, my coach is a complete idiot. Nick Saban came in and changed everything he was doing. Why did we even hire this guy?
And even if they turn it around at that point, like I don't think Gordon Ramsay probably still gets credit for turning these restaurants around. Maybe he deserves it. But if Nick Saban was to turn a program around, I mean, the coach is not going to get any credit. But it would be great viewing.
It would be fun television.
It would be. No, I don't disagree with you.
Real shows that are on television, brought to you by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
205-969-8100. I made that call over 2 decades ago. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. After the procedure, only took 12 minutes for both eyes. 2015 vision, better than 2020. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She is going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. Dr. Mort Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
All right, starting off tonight, we don't have any new releases, unfortunately, but I've got a good selection of older stuff we can watch on the AMC channel at 7 p.m. You can watch one of the biggest blockbuster-style movies ever, and that is Independence Day. I think it's a very rewatchable, and it's just a good summer movie.
Is that the Randy Quaid?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was awful, but
yeah, Lance
each
did not
their
like
own.
it. Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, you were probably not even born. I saw it when it first came out in the theater.
I wasn't born.
Yeah.
Next up on Peacock, they've added the entire John Wick franchise, so I'm going to go through those and rewatch them before Ballerina comes out next week.
Big fan.
And then Hulu also has all of the Karate Kid movies. The new Karate Kid movie comes out this Friday, and so you can rewatch all of them if you want to.
I loved the Karate Kid. I thought 2 was okay.
That was more of a love story, right?
Yeah, Gloria Love goes over to Okinawa. Mr. Miyagi has to patch some old relationships.
Glory of Love by Peter Cetera.
Peter Cetera, yeah.
I like that song probably more than I should have.
Oh.
That was a good song in the 80s. Do you like it?
Oh, yeah.
You remember that song, Joe?
I did.
Peter Cetera.
He's got one of the more unique frontman voices.
He does. Now, he's lost it. I've seen him do some concerts of late on TikTok.
Yeah,
and
I'll tell you.
Hard to hit those notes now.
I played 7 rounds of golf in 10 days on my time off, and when I'm on the golf course, we play music. And, when you play 7 days. And
that's going to be a lot of songs.
That's a lot of songs.
A lot of Peter Cetera out there?
No, we had to mix up the soundtrack from, 90s rock to 90s. There was one day we were playing 90s rap.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was intense for a course. But, a lot of country, a lot of Morgan Wallen and Zach Bryan and all that. But one day, just because we'd played so much music, I went with power ballads, and that falls into
Gloria Love's
category.
Definitely a power ballad. Yeah.
So grown men on the golf course singing their power ballad. That was one of them. Yeah, it was good. Is that it? Anything else?
I've got one more on the list. It's a movie I have not seen, but was recommended to me by Tim Melton. It is The Gift, available on Hulu, starring Jason Bateman. A married couple, Simon and Robin, run into Gordo, an old classmate, and things take a turn when Gordo begins to drop in unannounced at their house and inundates them with mysterious gifts.
It's a really good concept. I thought it was okay. It is dark. I don't like the Joel Edgerton guy.
Oh, okay.
I've never been a fan of his.
I've never been a big Joel Edgerton fan either.
Yeah.
What was the movie Katie Holmes was in right after?
It was called The Gift, too.
It was called The Gift. I get confused when you say The
Gift. Where they
Gift.
pulled her drowned body out of a pond or something.
Yeah. More importantly, at one point they pulled her top off, but yes.
I knew Dunaway was going to say that. I think that's the only topless thing you get is when she's pulled out dead.
Okay, if I pause it at just the right time.
All right, top of the hour. 2 more to go, including Trey Wallace, I assume from SEC
He
meetings.
is in Destin, yes.
Yeah. So Trey will join us from SEC meetings coming up on the other side. The next round that's being brought to you today from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios. Always appreciate those folks. What a good time in the offseason to go enjoy their games and all the pari-mutuel bettings, but also fun during football season coming up right there at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino. This is the next round.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Hey, you. Days warming up, looking like spring. And at New Balance Birmingham, we've got the thing. What pops and what's fresh? Check the selects. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
There's no off-season at covercrimson.com. Sign up now and get daily shows plus behind-the-scenes intel that will keep your Alabama fandom rolling all the way up until kickoff. Follow Cover Crimson on all social platforms and sign up today at covercrimson.com.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with a TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, another hour. Trey Wallace from Destin and SEC meetings coming up, scheduled to be with us in about 10 minutes. Before LT tells us about Odie's in trivia tonight, a lot of discussion about Texas and Ohio State. Ohio State fans unhappy that game's going to be at 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern on the big noon kickoff. Apparently Fox, because they value Ohio State's partnership, considered moving that game to primetime Sunday night under the lights in Columbus, where it would have gone up against a really big LSU-Clemson game, but still it would have been.
I'm glad we didn't do that.
Would have been.
It'd have been huge.
I mean, gun to head, you can only watch one of those two games.
Texas, Ohio State.
Really?
Yeah.
Boy,
I mean, for the arch angle's the only way I say that.
I don't want to have to make that decision.
And I think slightly two better teams on paper, even though I have LSU winning the championship and Clemson being in the playoffs. I think Texas, Ohio State. But Texas said no. It would take both teams agreeing to move it off of the Saturday date. Texas said no. You don't want a short week. San Jose State next week for Texas, the week after that for Texas. But they didn't want a short week. And also, the atmosphere would be crazier at night in Columbus, and it will be at 11 o'clock in the morning, Central Time, 12 Eastern. A night game would be a crazier, tougher atmosphere for Texas. So Sark and Texas said no. And, you know, people may be wondering why you don't play that on a Saturday night if you want to, if you're Fox. Well, there's NBC and CBS. Fox wants that game, so they'll get huge numbers at 12 Eastern, 11 Central. They, I believe, by television contracts, cannot move that game.
I think they're
to
locked
prime
into that
time.
window. Yeah, that's why they don't do like a 2:30 Oregon game.
Yep,
because that's the CBS window for the Big Ten. So yeah, they're locked in. That's how Ohio State Oregon ends up on NBC primetime last year, as because it was played in Eugene, and Fox can't do that game in prime. They can't just say, "Oh no, we're going to go to primetime NBC." You know,
you do the 11.
Best of luck to you. Yeah, they can't do that. I mean, that's the way the schedule. Now, Fox, I'm assuming, could have probably had that if they had invested more money in this. They could have controlled it more. But I would guess Fox was like, "We'll spend a little bit less and lock ourselves into that big noon kick window." Like, I would imagine if Fox had gone in and said, no, we want the flexibility to do the primetime game if we want to. There was a price for that, and NBC and CBS would have said, okay. Yeah, for less money, we'll let you do that.
And I assume there's a price that you could buy NBC out for one weekend if you wanted to. You'd have to give up something, of like maybe the Ohio State-Michigan game or something like that.
Yeah, we saw CBS do it with ESPN.
Yeah, but I just found that interesting, and people were like, why wouldn't Texas do it? Would you have done it if you were Texas, if you were Steve Sarkisian and the fine folks at Texas? Would you have agreed to move that game to Sunday night primetime? Short week before San Jose State, but to me,
I mean, the short week doesn't really matter.
Right. To me, more importantly, is the
atmosphere.
The tougher atmosphere at night in Columbus than at daytime in Columbus.
I would think it's tougher atmosphere. And, you know, I don't know. I guess for your fan base, it doesn't matter. They really don't care about LSU and Clemson like we do.
I mean, yeah, you got Labor Day the next day, so travel wouldn't be that big of an issue for your fan base.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have, though.
Yeah, and another thing, when
Glad they didn't.
When you're on the road, I mean, keeping you guys, mind locked in until a primetime game, that sometimes that wears on you, having to wait for such a big game.
Now, I tell you,
and play.
If they wouldn't do it on Sunday, they sure wouldn't do this idea. But if that were your Labor Day night game,
that'd be great.
Instead of
or move LSU. LSU's used to playing on Labor Day night.
Yeah, instead of North Carolina TCU, if we had Texas Ohio State on Labor Day night, holy crap, that'd be huge.
Yeah. Someday we may have a central.
Hey, give me those four quarterbacks in order of those two big games.
You have Arch, and you have Sayin.
Is Sayin definitely the starter?
You have Nussmeier
and Klubnik.
I would
go. The two best are in the LSU Clemson.
I would go Nussmeier, probably Arch, probably Sayin, and then Klubnik.
You'd have Klubnik fourth over two guys you haven't even seen?
I know it's weird right now.
I would go Klubnik 1.
Okay.
I would go Nussmeier 2. I would go Arch 3, and I would go Sayin 4. And I might even go Sayin over Arch.
Okay. Check back later on.
I've
I'm
seen Klubnik
projecting
do
what
this
they're
now.
going to be.
Yeah.
You've seen Klubnik do it for 2 months. For 2.5 years, he was he was
haven't
holding
seen
Clemson
Sayin
back.
I haven't seen Sayin do anything.
Yeah, I've never seen him take a snap. I've really seen Arch take nothing but meaningless snaps. Yeah. And I do think Nussmeier's good, but he hasn't done what Klubnik's done.
No, when it's said and done at the end of the year, I believe you would agree with me. It'll be Nussmeier, Arch, Sayin, Klubnik when it's all said and done. Okay. We'll search back. Tell us about Odie's tonight, trivia night, where you'll get LT and Brown full dose.
Yes, Odie's Team Trivia. We do it every Wednesday night. The original location in Crestline. Come out, join us a little after 8 o'clock. Enjoy some of the great food from Rodney Davis, including the award-winning wings, delicious burgers, fantastic sandwiches, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light, live music every Friday and Saturday night. Great place to watch. NBA action, Western Conference Finals tonight with the T-Wolves in OKC. You can do it right there at Odie's. 2 locations, Broadway right there, Broadway Oxmoor in Edgewood, and the original location in Crestline. Come see us tonight, Odie's Team Trivia.
The College Football Spotlight.
The Shunnarah Spotlight every day presented by our guy Alexander Shunnarah, trial attorneys. They are a national firm with southern roots, headquartered right here in Birmingham, Alabama. For more than 24 years, they've grown to more than 150 lawyers, supported by more than 500 dedicated team members. They have recovered more than $2 billion. That's the big number there, $2 billion. And they've done it by maintaining Alexander's core values: integrity, mastery, passion, and success. If you find yourself in need of a lawyer, call the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case. Shunnarah.com. Shunnarah.com.
Okay, our spotlight today is on a growing proposal for the future of the college football playoffs in 2026. 16 teams, 5 automatic bids, 11 at-large bids. That was presented to the SEC coaches yesterday. We'll talk to Trey Wallace about that coming up here in a moment. But Lane Kiffin had a chance to talk about this. Give me cut 7, Tyler. Here's Lane Kiffin on the right number of teams for the playoffs.
I think I would just sum it up by, after all the data and analytics, about if they were these different systems over the years, who would be left out and who would be in, whether that was a 12-team, 16 system. And it just appeared to me that there's still flaws in every system. The best system should be 16 and should be the 16 best. And I don't know exactly how that's figured out. I think that they've got to use some of the indexes and have people, I'm not saying that because I'm in here, probably media people that watch the most, that are on it and don't have any other motives in it. You watch this year in sports, and now baseball, softball, after men's basketball, so many dominate, whether it's the final 8 or 12 or 16 with the SEC teams, and their systems of figuring that out. And I think a lot of that has to do with the non-conference amount of opponents they play. Obviously, we don't have as many games, so we can't do that. Because you see, for instance, baseball, these teams that have made it this far that have SEC and conference records just a little bit over 500. So I think that would be the best way to do it. Get rid of automatics and figure out a system to get the best 16 teams in.
So 511 would have 5 auto bids and 11 at large. We're going to talk to Trey Wallace about that now as we continue our spotlight. But your quick thought on 511. The SEC would do okay with 11 at large bids, I believe, right?
Spray tan, or he doesn't use sunblock.
He lost the bracket challenge.
I had a buddy over the weekend. He's like, I can't use sunblock. It's too dangerous. Too many chemicals. I was like, I don't know. Pick your poison.
It's just that time of year where everybody's out in the sun somewhere dark.
He's really dark.
He's at Destin.
Anyway, with all that said, the SEC would have gotten 6 teams in this year. 6 teams. You would have had his Ole Miss team would have been there. South Carolina would have been there. Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, and Georgia. As far as just going strictly 1 through 16, I really think you could go back to the old BCS model and probably get it right.
Yeah, and AD Scott Strickland sort of hinting that yesterday at SEC meetings.
So Trey Wallace is with us now, and he covers the college football world for Outkick. He is in Destin, down at the beach, where all the talk's been college football playoff. It seems, Trey, at least that's what we see. How you been, man?
I am good, gentlemen. It's been an interesting week so far, I guess. We still got today, a little bit tomorrow, but man, this is the intersection of vacationers that have no clue that coaches are down here, and these head coaches that are trying their hardest just to get on a private jet this afternoon and go home.
We played the clip earlier from Kirby Smart where he wants clarity when it comes to this transfer portal, and he wants to know exactly, when it opens, when it closes. We've talked about this, Trey. I don't know where you stand on this. I don't know how you ever get this without – a lot of people don't want to go this route, making these guys employees of the university.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. You saw Danny White and Dondi Plowman last week from the University of Tennessee come out and say, look, collective bargaining is the route that is probably the most obvious in the future when it comes to contracts. But like Lane Kiffin said yesterday, it's like, look, we can't add years to these contracts either right now. So you're kind of in a tough spot when it comes to how can we actually negotiate with the guys, and how can we not get fleeced, within a span of 6 months if the player makes a certain amount of money and then decides to dip out for the portal. I think that's the toughest part that we're at right now in the sport is you've got players that want to be paid a certain amount of money, but you would like these schools, to have some kind of not leverage, but just kind of you're on the same playing field. And the craziest thing about all of this is, if you really think about it, 5 years ago, guys, when the inception of NIL, it was so taboo. And I brought this up to Lane yesterday. It's so taboo to even speak about paying a player. And now we're talking about potentially, if this judge in California, Judge Wilkins, approves the House settlement, these schools are going to be cutting checks to these guys and girls. And to me, that is the most interesting part of this whole thing is what kind of contract, what kind of boundaries are you going to be able to set up moving forward to be able to have some kind of, control over a roster. These guys are, you look what happened with Tennessee and Nico and that whole situation. So Tennessee doesn't have a quarterback technically, Joey Aguilar's there now. But what I'm getting at is you just have no clue about what's going to happen in a span of 6 months, 7 months. And I think these schools would love a way to maybe tie this thing down. If you leave after, a year and the contract says 2 years, okay, you owe us some sort of a buyout. Right now, these collectives and whatnot that are trying to front load all these deals, sure, they're trying to put some language in there, but it doesn't hold up in court. So it's going to take, I think, once we get settled in with this House settlement, because by the way, these schools are going to start paying these players on July 1st, whether a judge approves it or not. So to me, it's, can they get something in writing that's actually going to work and not, end up in a courtroom? And I think that's what Lane Kiffin was hinting at yesterday.
I feel like it was just yesterday I saw you at the SEC basketball tournament. I can't believe we're already at the SEC meetings, Trey. Right? It's crazy. It's flying by. We were just talking about 5'11", that model with at larges, and I thought it was Scott Strickland talking about maybe the committee's not the best way to go. How much buzz is it about maybe when we rework this thing in 2026 that the SEC is in favor of going back to more of a BCS-like model than they are having 13 humans make the selection of who's in the playoffs and who's not?
Yeah, you have to question how much are folks trying to appease the audience and the fans, and how much are folks talking logically and what's going to happen. If they can come up with some kind of computer formula that makes this work, have at it. That's fine. Like if you can figure out a way for the BCS to come back in a sense, and you have a computer formula that works and breaks down to wins, okay, great. But there's still going to be argument. There's still going to be, the lobbying that's going on. Whoever, when we move to 16, okay, who's number 17? Okay, why don't we get in? There has to be a flaw in the system, right? Like, you're never going to please everyone. And I think with the committee, the biggest thing that I've wrong with the committee and think is, A, you shouldn't have current ADs on the committee that are involved with the school, period. Don't do it, because all that does is, I don't care if you are exiting the room when they're talking about your team, that perception is still out there, guys. That's not going away. And I think, to me, that's one of the big, look what Ward Manuel, ran into when Michigan was in contention. And then, you had Ohio State even last year. And then, all we heard during these television shows was, well, the ADs, when they were talking about them, they left the room. Okay, well, what the heck were they doing for the other 14 hours they were with each other? Like, were they talking about this at dinner, or was it just some gag order? It's like, come on. So I think that what you're seeing right now, even with the conversation on the 5'11", process, like, to me, and I'm just being honest here, do I really think that Greg Sankey, the SEC, and then Tony Petitti and the Big Ten and these others are going to walk away from money that is pretty much promised if you have automatic qualifiers in there? And I'm talking about not just the automatic qualifier from the SEC champion, I'm talking about the other three, that you would get, and the money that comes with the television. I think what you're seeing right now is there's a number of ideas being floated out there, and they're trying to figure out which one sticks. But at the same time, I urge folks to realize that some of the stuff you are hearing from the commissioner, and this is not a shot at the commissioner, this is just reality. Same thing I could say about Tony Petitti or Jim Phillips or Brett Yormark. They're saying this stuff because they know that once we get to June 18th is a very key day, guys. June 18th is when the CFP committee and the commissioners and all that jazz are going to meet in person. And there is talk that maybe we could have some kind of format set up by then. Because when Greg Sankey threw that December 1st date out last night, guys, we ain't getting to December 1st before there's a format figured out. Because right now, what we have going on too is the SEC can quietly take a straw poll and say, okay, we're going to move to 9 games, but we're only going to do that when we have the CFP format figured out. So what I'm getting at is that I think there are certain things that are being said right now because they know the ACC and the Big 12 are looking on. They know the Big 10 is looking on, but it's a tag team match, guys. It's the SEC and the Big 10 versus the ACC and the Big 12. And right now, Brett Yormark is in Orlando. Big meetings. He's got somebody watching what's going on here in the SEC and Destin. And I think you're going to see that back and forth until we get to that meeting on June 18th.
All right, that June 18th meeting, Trey Wallace is with us from Destin, at Trey Wallace _. He covers college football for Outkick, at Trey Wallace _. So a decision made there, though, Trey, would be for the 2026 season? Is that when that would start?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, correct. So, and I'm not saying there's going to be a decision made there. I'm just saying that they're going to be together, and they're not going to be on Zoom talking with each other. And you're not just going to have the 4 power commissioners together meeting in Charlotte or meeting in New York. No. They're all getting together June 18th. And I think that is a key day for me. Now, does that mean we're going to get a decision? No. But at the same time, guys, the House settlement, if approved, which I think it's going to be approved, it might have to fix 1 or 2 things again. But you have to realize 2.5 weeks later, all of this kicks in July 1st. So they're trying to figure out what the format's going to be. So that's why I don't think we get out of the summer without a CFP format for 2026 and beyond. And the big other thing, too, to remember, guys, it's all about money. If they have play-in games and whatnot moving forward, I mean, all that is just inventory to be able to sell for each school to make more money. So, if a lot of people want to talk about, Greg Sankey made a joke about the good of the game because that's what the Big 12 and the ACC commissioner were talking about last week when they said something regarding straight seating. This is, at the end of the day, obviously you want what's best for the game, for the fans that are paying for this. And I think right now we're in a spot that a lot of tough decisions going to have to be made over the next month and a half. And, man, the clock is ticking on this bad boy.
Trey, from a national perspective, how hot is the seat going into year 3 for Hugh Freeze at Auburn?
Yeah, it's hot. It's hot. I think you've got folks down in Auburn who made a decision from an NIL standpoint that said, all right, look, we're going to give you what you need when it comes to money. And you can go out and you can get the best players and buy the best players and put it all together, and that's great. But at the end of the day, 7 wins is not acceptable at Auburn. And the other thing that stands out to me, and I talked with some colleagues about this and some other folks around college football, is you've got Alabama that's kind of like right here. They're not up here. They're not down here. They're kind of right there in the middle. And you would think this would be a perfect time for Auburn to take advantage of that and get back to where they were in the past and try to maybe one-up Alabama in a certain way while they have Kalen DeBoer. Well, problem is you hadn't seen that. And you can tell me about Jackson Arnold, and you can tell me about Deuce Knight and what the future looks like. Guys, I'm telling you, if you have 7 wins this upcoming season, if they're floating around 6 wins, there's going to be trouble on the Plains because they've given Hugh Freeze what he needed to go out and purchase the best players. Now it's time to go out there and compete for a college football playoff spot. And if they don't, I'll be honest with you, I could see Auburn potentially moving on. I know they don't want to. I know they don't want to start over. The same thing for Mississippi State. They don't want to start over. They would love for Jeff Lebby to have a decent year so he can come back. But I don't think decent's going to cut it anymore at Auburn. And I know the fans are getting pretty, agitated with where things are at. And according to folks I've spoken with, Hugh Freeze has got to have himself a good year. And I think he will. It's just they can't be out of playoff contention, guys, by the 3rd week in October. If they are, I don't know how that one's going to play out for him for 2026.
It is certainly the offseason storyline that will not die with Hugh Freeze. He is Trey Wallace in Destin at the SEC meetings at Trey Wallace _ on social media. Read his work at Outkick. Go follow him on social media. Trey, thank you. He's on with us every week. So when I say Outkick, I immediately think Clay, and that was an error on my part. I am so sorry, Trey.
Yeah,
you'll forgive me one of these days.
If you talk to him, tell him I said hello, please.
I will. Thank you, Trey. Take care.
All right, guys.
All right, my apologies. Trey Wallace with us from Outkick, and he was on the Alexander Shunnarah Trial Attorneys Hotline.
A little shot there. They both work at Outkick. If you talk to Clay, tell him I said hello.
Didn't
I mean, I don't know how involved he is with day-to-day employees.
Didn't want to read into that.
Man, look how dark Lane is.
I know. I noticed that too, Jim. He's dark. As they say in the chat room.
He's got more Indian in him than you do.
As they said in the chat room, he looked like he lost Lance's bracket challenge. You're going to look.
So you think he's spray tanning. I think you're incorrect.
Well, I'm not saying I said it's either spray tanning or he's not using any sunblock at all.
He tans. He tans in the summertime.
That's not really a tan. That's more red, isn't it? Like his face looks really red.
That's how you get sort of burned when you're out at the beach.
When you don't use sunblock.
Yeah. I play a lot of golf. I put sunblock on my face when I play.
What about the back of your neck? What about your ears?
I do. Yeah. I mean, when I say face, I mean everything above my shoulders.
Okay.
And
what about your arms and hands?
I do not on my arms, hands, and legs.
The great Barb Marley died of skin cancer on the bottom of his foot.
He did.
What about the back of your ears? Those always
I
get
do.
burned.
I do. So I take the sunscreen and I flop my ears like that so it gets on both sides. All I was going to say before I got line of questioning from the district attorney across from me here is that I have seen 2 guys have to have their nose rebuilt.
Yeah.
I only needed to see that once, and I've seen it twice. You do not want to do that.
It's a haunting image. I saw
it's
one
terrible.
Of them, haunting image.
Yeah.
Show being brought to you by our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa. LT, tell us about Woodhouse.
Great place to go for relaxation, whether it's for yourself or you want to give someone the gift of relaxation. Maybe you've got that golf weekend coming out. You're heading out of town with the guys. Make sure the wife or girlfriend is taken care of. You can do it from the Woodhouse Day Spa. Voted America's best day spa since 2009. You can order that gift card online 24/7. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Let her choose from a menu of over 70 options, including the body treatments, massages, waxing, skincare, nail services. Again, 24/7 online, Birmingham.woodhousespas.com, or stop into the Summit Shopping Center's beautiful location. Tell Stuart and that great staff, the guys from the Next Round Center.
And our friends at New Life Art, Daniel A. Moore, painting all the great works from Alabama football. We'll hear from Kalen DeBoer in the next segment, by the way, if you're an Alabama fan. If you're an Alabama fan, wouldn't you love to have all of the works from Daniel A. Moore? You can see them all at danielmooreart.com. danielmooreart.com, promo code TNR. That includes the legend Nick Saban, 6 national championships in Tuscaloosa and 1 in LSU. 6 honored at Alabama with that painting from Daniel A. Moore. Check it all out online with our friends at New Life Art. All their works, danielmooreart.com. danielmooreart.com, promo code TNR.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey,
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Hey friends, if you're looking to expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Tahaad Pettiford watch still going on. Deadline at 11:59 tonight Central Time.
Is he going to lose his head coach?
To the U.S. Senate?
To the United States Senate, Jim Dunaway?
Tommy Tuberville. The younger-looking Tommy Tuberville.
Are you saying he might have had some work done?
Let's just say I think he may be in favor of the nip-tuck rule.
God, I saw somebody over the weekend that you guys know that, whew,
he had a lot of work done.
A ton.
He or she?
He. Do you think you'll ever get work done?
No.
Dunaway. That was a very forceful no.
I've never built my career on looks.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you're the only man I know that knows exactly to the fraction of a pound that you weigh every single day.
I just like weighing every morning, and it's a chore for me to stay healthy, to stay at a weight. Because if I don't pay attention to it, I gain weight easily. I start eating badly. I start having ice cream for snacks and brownies for snacks. And love potato chips. Love chips and salsa.
I thought it was a fair question. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, look, I
No.
teach their own. Whoever
Yeah.
wants to get work done.
Look, my wife, as you guys know, my wife performs plastic surgery for a living.
Well, I'm not against it.
No.
I'm not against
I'm
it.
just saying.
I just think some people should announce that, by the way.
Because you did talk about getting
I'm back.
pectoral implants and calves, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't do anything in my face. I would take some pec implants.
Oh, well,
Absolutely.
that is plastic surgery.
Yeah.
dude.
You're
What
not
about
vain
the
at all,
ab-
but you want pecs.
What?
What about the ab implants? Get
Yeah.
a six-pack,
Nah,
Jim.
you know, I think if I had pec implants, if I got me some nice 34Ds,
My wife does those.
walk around, I think I'd be okay with the stomach. at
I
that
mean,
point.
I'm willing to start a GoFundMe if you really get pec implants.
They need to be realistic.
A GoFundMe.
Yeah.
We got to
Should
do
we
it.
do the leg lengthening surgery while we're at it?
I don't need that.
Oh,
I don't want
wow.
that.
That was a
Well, if you want to get to 6 feet, you know.
I don't need
Yeah,
to
come
be
on.
to 6 feet. I just want some pecs, and I don't like doing push-ups.
So
or
you think,
pull-ups
they're not fun.
or
Any ups.
bench presses or curls or any of that
So
stuff.
you think Tommy's had work done?
I'm just saying he looked very tight.
Okay. I did not.
At his gubernatorial announcement
I
yesterday.
think that was wasted money. If you're running to replace Kay Ivey, I don't think you could look any more youthful
Yeah.
than
you're
running
right.
to replace Kay Ivey. I mean, replacing Kay freaking Ivey.
Yeah, Biden could give that a run. couldn't he?
Joe Biden would be like, man, we're going to let this kid replace Kay Ivey?
Yeah. I haven't seen Tommy look that young and that tight since they were 13-0 in 2004.
Man, I cannot believe how much he has embraced politics.
Can you find me a picture, Scott, of the announcement yesterday of Tommy Tuberville, who's going to run for governor of Alabama? He made it official yesterday. And what Brown was talking about, there is buzz out there on 3 talking about it as well, that Bruce Pearl could be the guy to replace Tommy Tuberville in the U.S. Senate. Tuberville himself says he does not think that Bruce would do that. He joked about the pay cut and all that, with Bruce making a little over $6 million a year. Bruce Pearl would be a fantastic senator. I do not doubt that, and would instantly turn the program over to Stephen Pearl.
But you have said before you thought that would be something that might get him out of there, that he's
not
obviously
politics, but religion.
like something dealing with his Jewish faith. That's what you're saying.
And changing the world with his faith. I
But
do
now-
think that would be his next chapter.
But he might think that the quickest way to change is to have some sort of political influence like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he'll do it or not. It's a story that came out of left field to me when it broke yesterday. Some guy that covers, I'd never heard of this guy, so I don't know, how I don't follow congressional reporting, so I don't know how reliable this guy is, but this guy covers Capitol Hill, and he was the first to report it, and then apparently Tuberville commented on it as well.
Yeah.
Senator Bruce Pearl.
But you know what a pain in the ass NIL is, and transfer portal.
Do you know what a pain in the ass
No, but I'm
politics
saying
is?
those guys are getting paid $5 to $10 million, and politicians aren't making anything.
Yeah, but you get a couple of days head start on the stock market to make all the money you want.
I was about to say there are a lot of congressional members that become exceptionally good day traders in their time in D.C.
Yeah.
Plus, you got all the book signings and like speaking engagements where you can charge $2 million.
Yeah, but Pearl can already do that.
Boards of trustees, you get asked to serve on boards, and I think that carries some money.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't. Okay, so there's the photo from yesterday. So
yes,
you think Tommy's had some work?
Yes. I mean, I'm just guessing. I mean, look, he doesn't. I've got the wrinkles on the forehead. He doesn't have any really, and maybe that's just the lighting. But he looks pretty tight.
Yeah, his eyes and cheeks look different to me.
Yeah, maybe just a little Botox. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's a good point. Maybe a little Botox. Is that plastic surgery?
It is done at plastic surgery locations, but also other places. So I don't think I would consider Botox plastic surgery.
Yeah. But it looks good. I don't know how old Tommy is. You're good at this. How old's Tommy?
I am going to say Tommy Tuberville. Hold on, give me a second. He is 65 years old.
Yeah, it's outside the window. Tommy's 70. I did not realize he was 70 already.
That's a tight face for a 70-year-old. Good genes. Got that from Mama's side of the family, I bet.
If you really, and I don't know why Coach Tuberville is doing this, but if you really wanted to affect change, do you think you've got a better senator or governor? I would say senator.
Most powerful people in the United States are the 100 senators.
I would say they're far more powerful than a state governor.
Yeah.
Is the
100 senators, Supreme Court president.
Let me ask you this, and honestly, more work, Senate or being the governor?
Oh, the Senate.
I would say the Senate, yeah.
I think so, probably.
Travel's much, much better. Like Tommy's having to go back and forth from, some would say Florida, some would say Alabama to D.C.
It's so much easier to be the governor.
Well, he needs to get new pavers at that pool, the Alabama-shaped pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
probably need to revise that a little bit. Is he still married or is he single?
Oh, I do not. I don't know.
I have no idea.
I do not know.
I was just going to say, you could really, you could resort that pool up a little bit if he was single.
I got friends that live in Montgomery. I think, what is that? That's a 2.5 hour, 2:45 to the coast.
Oh, it's quick.
Yeah.
The worst part of me, I don't know about you guys, the worst part of coming back from the beach is Montgomery to Birmingham.
That's right.
I
It's
agree.
that last part.
It's awful.
Yeah. I get to Montgomery just about okay.
Yeah, there
close
is
enough where I could get off and get to my house.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a bad drive at all. That's one of those, if you live in Montgomery, you can stay till Monday morning and drive into work.
Drive into work, exactly. Just commute at that point. Especially if you're the governor, you just set your meetings up at 11 o'clock. Good luck to Tommy. Good luck to Bruce Pearl. Good luck to Tahaad Pettiford and all the Auburn people watching that today. The show being brought to you in part today by our friends at New York Butcher Shop. Tell us about New York Butcher.
I actually went to New York Butcher Shop last night. How about this, fellas? Picked up 2 canisters of the freshly made meatballs.
Ooh.
They had, so they've also got really cool groceries in there. You guys have been there from the crackers and the cheeses. And
oh, yeah.
So I picked up
do a whole meal.
A bottle of homemade gravy. So it's the marinara sauce, but called gravy.
Oh, Sunday gravy?
Yeah.
Oh,
and so we had the meatballs. Maddie did a pasta for the boys last night with the fresh gravy. It was fantastic. Just one of the little things you can do at the New York Butcher Shop. Of course, you can pick up the steaks, the ribs, the chicken. Fantastic, huge deli sandwiches for lunch or dinner. A fantastic selection of fine wines and desserts. One-stop dinner shop. 2 locations. The original Cabo Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. Rare quality, well-done service. It's the New York Butcher Shop.
All right. Our 4 downs today coming up. I did want to throw one thing out before we get to the 4 downs here. It's going to be our Lags question of the day. Our question is it unfair to judge James Franklin's career by this season?
Well, I think James Franklin has given you a wealth of data to judge his career on up until this point. I think if you say by this season, you mean like they actually play for the national championship or win it this season, that becomes a little bit of the outlier based on what he's done. But I would say if they are out earlier than you would think and they don't really have that win that you could hang your hat on, I don't think you're judging his career by this. I think you're saying this season confirms everything I've thought about James Franklin's career.
Or he erases.
It's confirmation. Or maybe he does erase some of it or all of it. But to me, Lance, if they're out earlier than they should be and their best win is like Indiana or somebody, you say that just confirms everything I've always thought about.
Yeah, I don't have a big expectation. Look, they had a really good year last year, almost backdoored their way into playing for a national championship based on draw from the postseason. He's got the second best quarterback he's ever coached in Drew Aller. They've got a really, really good backfield.
Is that better than Jay Cutler? I mean, did he have Cutler?
He did not have Cutler.
Yeah, that was Bobby Johnson.
I'm going to throw a name out there, and you guys tell me if you agree or disagree. Trace McSorley is the best quarterback he has coached.
I've always thought Drew Aller was Trey McSorley light, so I'm fair with that.
Yeah, I think Trace McSorley, where they actually went to a Rose Bowl in 2016 and lost USC in an incredible game. I thought Trace McSorley was the best he's had, but Aller could be even better this year. Almost everyone has him projected to go in the first round of the NFL draft next year.
They're in the playoffs. I know that's the answer, but do this exercise with me just real quick. I don't know if Scott. I know Scott has the Penn State schedule because he's Scott. But if they lose the games they normally lose on that schedule, they're in the playoffs, but you tell me what the reaction is to this. Here's their schedule. Nevada, FIU, Villanova, Oregon at home, which, again, that's the game they normally lose, right?
Yep.
All right, so they're 3-1. At UCLA, Northwestern, at Iowa, bye week, at Ohio State, a game they normally lose. So now they're a 2-loss team.
Yep.
Indiana at home, at Michigan State, Nebraska, we talked about that could be an interesting game. And then at Rutgers. Like, if they just lost the games they normally lose.
Oh, I think they could easily be 9-3 this year.
You're giving them a Nebraska loss too?
Oh, well, look, okay, so Oregon, let's just say it. Ohio State, let's just say it. And then at Iowa, Indiana, Nebraska. one of those.
I mean, if they're 9-3, I don't know that he makes
massive
the playoffs.
disappointment.
I mean,
don't
it's
think
a massive
they do.
disappointment. They just don't have a good win to hang their hat on at that point.
Yeah, because then you're going to be judged depending on what Illinois, Indiana, if Iowa does beat you, USC. I mean, there's going to be other teams, Nebraska, if they beat them. We talked about Nebraska, our 40-40 team earlier today. I mean, Nebraska's a dark horse to make a run for a college football playoff.
I could just see another 10-2 where they've lost to Oregon and Ohio State, and that's the same old James Franklin.
Yeah. By the way, Nebraska, our 40-40 team, sometimes they pop up in our 4 downs question this time of year. 4 downs today being discussed after we tell you about our friends at Lags.
Okay, so I had our buddy Sammer send me this today. Picked up lunch for the office.
Oh, boy.
So you tell me what sounds good. So 5 bologna sandwiches.
Yes, that sounds good.
3 tots. Breakfast sandwich, Texas toast, sausage patty, fried egg over medium.
Oh, my gosh.
More tots. 1 breakfast sandwich, buttermilk biscuit, sausage patty.
I hadn't had their breakfast, but that does sound amazing.
Texas toast, folded egg. Breakfast plate, no gravy. 2 scrambled eggs, biscuit and gravy. Tots and queso on the tots.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a new one right
give me
there.
that.
So a lot of activity this morning at Lags. Our friends Eric and Justin stop in and see them, located right there in Avondale. I went by like a dumbass on Memorial Day, didn't call in advance. They were closed. Yeah. Boys were so excited. I said, hey, I'm taking you out for the best burger you can have right now at Lags. And we get out there and it's closed.
Memorial Day, I just assume everything is closed.
Yeah.
But more things are open than you think.
Yeah, it was probably a 50-50.
Yeah.
But, hey, guess what's open right now? It is Lags. And starting tomorrow, you can get the 6 a.m. breakfast. You can get lunch. You can get dinner and late night all the way till 2 a.m. All of these great menu items. Nostalgic brand, Lags Eatery. Started in Homewood years ago. Justin and Eric reopened it right there in Avondale. Between the Avondale and Cahaba Brewing. Stone's throw away from Mom's Basement. Get in today and tell them the guys from the next round sent you.
First down.
Okay, I got everything in text, so you guys give me 1 second.
By the way, Lags is closed every Monday, not just Memorial Day.
Okay, thank you, Tyler. I appreciate that. I call myself a dumbass.
That's 52 of them.
I got a little caught up. When sometimes holidays, you just get completely thrown out of whack.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
That was on me 100%. Better chance of making a playoff run this year, Nebraska or their old rival, the Oklahoma Sooners?
Oklahoma is going to be a much better football team.
With a much more difficult schedule.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you could switch schedules,
Oklahoma might be a one-loss team.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma's in a college football playoff.
Yeah. I would say Oklahoma, Nebraska. They don't play each other anymore. They should.
Be a great game.
Would be a great game this year.
Yeah.
I say Nebraska is more of a playoff team than Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think so too, and a lot of that's based on schedule.
Yeah, I think we all agree because of schedule. But I think both those. I mean, it would not blow me away if this is like the Tennessee, Indiana this year. With Nebraska and Oklahoma.
Nebraska and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Boy, if they met in the playoffs, though.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool. To revive that old rivalry.
Second down.
Do you remember when they played, I think it was the 2000 year that Oklahoma won the championship, and it was like 2 versus 3 or something like that? They were still both really good then.
I just remember watching all of the time in the mid to late 80s when they were always... Seemed like Oklahoma always won those games, at least in the 80s.
Well, they won
this
one.
They were always top 5.
They won this one, but they were both top 5 teams then.
Okay, 2 Big Ten coaches. Current job longer, Matt Rule at Nebraska or Lincoln Riley at SC?
But this year could go a long way in determining that. You let Matt Rule make a playoff and get Nebraska back to where they think they ought to be.
That gives him a 2 or 3 year
pass.
pass.
No doubt.
Y'all talked about this when I wasn't here, but Lincoln Riley, his feelings on the Notre Dame rivalry. That game's got to be played every year.
Got to be played.
Got to be played.
Yeah, we agreed on that.
It was one of my 5 protected. I think it's that important of a rivalry.
We did an exercise where you get to protect 5 rivalries, and Lance protected that one.
I mean, it's got to be played every year. There's too much history with that. It's, to me, it's the biggest rival for Notre Dame. To me, it's the biggest rival for USC. It's the biggest game. I don't care what your schedule is. You got to protect that game. So
USC is the one that's holding it up, though. I mean,
I know.
It's all about travel. They say travel and schedule and future playoff.
It's not
and all
about
that.
travel. It's toughness of their schedule now that they've got Ohio State and Penn State and Oregon and those teams that they've got to fight through to get there. I think stepping on toes like that could cost Lincoln Riley his job first. Matt Rule's at his job longer.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm surprised when Riley went to USC, I would be surprised at me saying this answer, but I think Matt Rule may outlive him.
Yeah, and I'm not saying Matt Rule is necessarily a better coach than Lincoln Riley. I'm just saying that Lincoln needs to have the year that I think he's going to have this year. He's got the contract.
Where's there more expectation?
It's at USC.
I think it is too, just because Nebraska has been so bad for so long.
That's right. I mean, he just went to a
so average.
Bowl game was a great step last year. Being a playoff contender and missing this year, still a step forward at Nebraska. USC, still going to be a disappointment. Give me Matts at the job longer, even though Lincoln has that unbelievable, impossible to buy out contract.
Third down.
I don't know if you saw, but what Inside Trojans or Inside USC called a prominent booster threatened to take USC out of his will if they don't play that game. That's a pretty big threat, isn't it?
Why would you not? Yeah. It's the biggest game. I would imagine if you're a USC prominent booster, that's the one game you circle your calendar. If you're a USC millionaire, the only game you count on going to is USC Notre Dame.
Yep.
South Bend or LA.
Gladys Knight, 81 years old today.
How about Gladys Knight, just 11 years older than Tommy Tuberville?
Yeah, that's hard to believe, isn't it?
Jerry West would have been 87. Better career, Jerry West or Gladys Knight?
I never saw a Gladys Knight logo.
That is true.
She's got 7 Grammys. She's almost got as many husbands, though. She's been married 4 times.
Yeah. But when you're around that many pips.
Yeah, Pip will get you in trouble.
Pip can be bad news.
I did not realize this. She also recorded the theme song for the James Bond film License to Kill.
Oh,
you think about just great, unique artists that have an opportunity to pin one of the title tracks. I had no idea she did that.
Is that where the song Big Pippin came from? Nope.
That's not it.
What do you guys think?
I mean, Midnight Train to Georgia is her biggest hit. Is that right? Am I right about that?
She did a version of Rolling on the River. I'm not a big Gladys Knight fan. I don't dislike her, but I never liked her music.
Yeah.
So Jerry West for me, though I've never really watched Jerry West play basketball, and he seemed like a cranky old guy as a GM.
That's how they portrayed him on Showtime, right?
Yeah. Give me Jerry West though.
I guess I'll go Jerry West. I mean, if you get me past Midnight Train to Georgia, which is a really good song, I like that song. I don't know much more about Gladys Knight's music. I
heard it through the grapevine.
I thought that was Marvin Gaye.
It was
Did you
Marvin
write
Gaye.
It says 2 of her songs. I think maybe they did it together. Heard it through the grapevine and Midnight Train to Georgia, inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, historical, artistic, and significant value.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm clipping on Heard It Through the Grapevine. Song written by Norman Whitfield and Barrett Strong. The first recording of the song be released, produced by Whitfield for Gladys Knight and the Pips.
Yep.
How about that?
Marvin Gaye's the version I go to.
Yeah, me too. I thought he was the version.
Gladys Knight.
Is this their Spotify list?
Yeah. Midnight Train to Georgia.
That's got to be number 1. What's number 2?
Such a good tune.
I hate the fact that I've got to click on the song. Neither one of us
couldn't even
wanted to be the
Gladys hit
first to say goodbye.
Gladys hit number 2 on her version of Heard It Through the Grapevine. Marvin Gaye hit number 1.
Number 1. Marvin did it better.
Yeah, he did.
There was a movie that was prominently featured.
I think it was California Raisins, wasn't it?
Yeah, that advertising campaign.
By the way, I saw some advertising campaigns last night at dinner that you're talking about some unique Sour Patch Kids. Have you guys ever seen it?
I don't know if I have.
Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah. They go wacky with their commercials.
Crazy, but they've got like 23 million followers.
I love Sour Patch Kids.
If I Were Your Woman is one of her songs.
Gladys?
Yep. I Heard It Through the Grapevine is number 5. The Way We Were is Barbara Streisand to me, but...
Yeah, I think I got to go Jerry West. I mean, after Midnight Train to Georgia, you didn't do a whole lot for me there.
Yeah. Seems like maybe she recorded some songs that other people made more famous.
Now, Midnight Train to Georgia is a spectacular song. Don't get me wrong, but that's, I'm not saying she's a one-hit wonder. Clearly not the case, but I'm going to go Jerry West here.
Help Me Make It Through the Night. Was that not a country song?
Could have been.
Help me make it through the night.
Bubba, was it a country song or not?
Rick? That's going to be not. That's Help Me Make It Through December, Jim. Thank you. 4th down.
4th down.
Today, May 28th, is National Hamburger Day. If I ask you guys the best way to prepare a burger, I go to the New York Butcher Shop. I pre-own the Smash. They're already balled up. They're seasoned with his great seasoning. Smash the 2 patties, grill some onions, put on some Wickles, put on some mayonnaise.
Yeah, it's a lot of
some
work
really
for me.
good Stilton cheese.
I go to Lags. I go to Hamburger Heaven. I go to Walk-Ons.
It's a Twin Peaks. That burger on that Twin Peaks commercial looks amazing. Yeah,
Culver's.
Culver's.
Yeah.
I mean, they all do great burgers.
Well, if I'm going to do it myself.
Will you guys get a burger on National Burger Day?
When is it?
It's today.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
I've got lunch plans, but those lunch plans fall through maybe because the place I'm supposed to go for lunch doesn't serve burgers. I like, first of all, I don't hate it on a black top. I prefer it over a flame. That is my preferred way of doing it. You got to melt the cheese on the grill while the burger's
Burger
still
King
on the grill.
tells me the flame makes a difference.
Yeah, I think it does. You got to melt the cheese while the burger is still on the grill. You don't do it after. I like the bun slightly toasted, and then you put on the burger, barbecue sauce, pickle, lettuce, and tomato. That's the best way to do a burger, in my opinion. But I have had many different burgers and love almost all of them.
You don't like the onion, though, do you?
I am not an onion guy.
I like the crunch of the onion.
I don't like raw onion.
Yeah, I like raw onion. I don't like them grilled or sauteed.
So I like raw onion on the burger, but I also, for the smash burger, if you grill the onion the right way, I just think it's a really good flavor.
I just don't like mushy onions.
Yeah.
Unless they're in an onion ring.
Well, the one thing I don't like about the mushy onion, sometimes you bite it and the whole onion pulls out. And now it's all.
I don't need to have the spaghetti.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting mine from somewhere.
From the true pros.
I'm going to let somebody else cook my burger for me. That's our 4 downs today. We appreciate LT throwing those together. Tyler will have it tomorrow on a Thursday. The show today being brought to you in part by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. LT, hot or cold, Hemp Hill keeps you at the right temperature and running all summer long.
205-229-2090. That is the number you need to call. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Any of these arise, Adam, Chad, Andrew, they can take care of it. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
And our friends at Way to Wellness. I was a cool flat 173 today. After 10 days off, I only gained 1 pound. You know why? That's because of Leslie and her board-certified team at Way to Wellness. You can find out how they can help you. Aplanforme.com. Aplanforme.com. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Leslie offers you a variety of things: injection therapies, meal replacements. I eat these wonderful protein bars that keep me healthy, help me with my cholesterol issues, help me with my blood pressure, help me with the way I look in the bedroom for Maggie. She does it all at Way to Wellness. Planforme.com. No contracts, no sign-up fees, and that first consultation is absolutely free. Go check it out with Leslie and her board-certified team. Planforme.com. Planforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations: Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Roback. Go to Roback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings, or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
If you're looking to expand business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us. Send an email to sales@nextroundlive.com to be a part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platform. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, and reach the most desirable audience for your business. Get information and more by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Final hour of the show, brought to you by our wonderful friends at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119, the best in the world right there. And he proudly has no burger on his menu there on National Burger Day. So if you would love some wonderful southern fried chicken, that's the place to go today. Brined overnight cooked order, hand-cut chicken fingers, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales that are just chef kiss, so fantastic. In fact, I don't even like other kinds of tamales. That's the only kind I like. Got a little heat to them. Love that. The po' boys and all the great sides that go with it, in-store made desserts, great cocktails that they create there in the happy hour. It's date night, destination lunch and dinner location. It's Champy's world-famous fried chicken with a great dude, Sterling. Over a decade in one location right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster, yes.
Can I tell you just a very quick story on for Memorial Day? Lance was talking about a restaurant being closed, and it made me think of this. We were, my wife and I and my youngest daughter had been to my mom and dad's over in Jacksonville, and we left my youngest daughter behind. So Jennifer and I were coming back, and we wanted barbecue. We did not have barbecue at lunch. So we stopped at a local barbecue joint between Jacksonville and my house. And there was a gentleman and his daughter sitting next to us, and the table was so close you couldn't help but overhear the conversation. And he was talking about the time he served in Korea, when he served in Korea. And as we got up and left, I said, "I'm sorry, I could not help but overhear your conversation. I just want to thank you for your service." And he was like, "Oh yeah." I said, "My grandfather was in Korea."
So 80s.
Yeah, 80s. And he was with his daughter, and she was saying something too. And he said, "Did your granddad get drafted?" I said, "In fact, he did. He got drafted to go Korea." And he goes, "We just were so happy." Think about this now. Think about this time you're living. He goes, "We're so happy when we turned 16 that we could get our driver's license, and we thought that might be the only time we ever got to drive a car because we were about to get drafted to go to war because so many people had died in World War II." And he was like, "I don't know if your granddad ever told you that." He goes, "But all the kids I grew up with, when they turned 16, were just so happy they got to drive a car once or twice before they had to go to Korea." And I was like, man, that
priorities have changed a little bit.
That puts it in perspective when you think about that.
Pretty big breaking news for Auburn basketball. that's not related to Tahaad Pettiford. Bruce Pearl and Steven and the Auburn staff have just picked up Serbian big man Filip Jokic. He's committed to Auburn. He tells On3 Sports he's a 6'9" forward who averaged 12 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist, playing 22 minutes professionally over in Serbia at KK Mega. I don't understand the rules of how you can play professionally, internationally, and still play college.
Makes no sense, yeah.
Jovic hails from the same club that NBA superstar Nikola Jokic played for. So it's the same place that Jokic came to the U.S. to the NBA. Jokic to the NBA. Jovic from that club at 6'9" to Auburn.
All you need is 50% of him. That's all you need.
50% Jokic.
Yeah, that's all you need.
So what's this kid's size? Do you have his size?
6'9", shooting forward.
Okay.
12 points, 4 rebounds a game. Auburn already has all the people they have in the portal, and I think he's for the upcoming season.
So let me ask you this. Is there a possibility this gets announced because Pettiford behind the scenes has said, I mean, what's the roster look like? I don't know how many spots are left.
Different positions.
It is different. Yeah, but you're just talking about spot for spot.
Yeah, I'm just talking spot for spot.
I think if Paul sent us this earlier, and it's a really good breakdown from one of these sites that Paul likes to send us, these basketball analytics sites. I think it's Torvik, but I'm not certain. The ratings they have on Auburn's roster right now. And I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 in there with Pettiford. But that's not to say that all those guys would be guaranteed a spot if you had an upgrade like that. So I think he would have a spot. I don't think that I would read anything into a connection there that, okay, we know we're going to lose Pettiford. We got to fill a spot. I don't think that would be the transaction here.
But maybe. We're still waiting on Pettiford. About 12 hours and some change left in that decision time for Tahaad Pettiford. If he's going to go back to Auburn, he's got to make that decision by 11:59:59. And last I checked, no word yet from the Pettiford camp to the Auburn camp. But surely at this point they know which way it's going to swing, you hope. But there's a pretty big announcement from the folks at On3 Sports that Auburn basketball has picked up a big 6'9" Serbian, a guy who's weathered some professional basketball over in Serbia. By the way, we mentioned yesterday Bucky McMillan getting the big transfer from Creighton, who had committed to Houston. But when Uzan went back to Houston, Pop Isaac committed to Texas A&M. They also got Mbako back out of the draft. So Bucky McMillan's team projected by Torvik to be the 22nd ranked team going into the season next year, which puts A&M firmly as an NCAA tournament team in Bucky's first year. I mentioned Houston getting Milos Uzan back, Alex Condon back from Florida. Both of those, Houston and Florida, likely top 5 teams. Jax Lindenborg from UAB going to Michigan puts Michigan as a top 10 team. I believe if Pettiford went back to Auburn, they would be a top 10 team. But, you know, I guess Philip and others are saying, Paul, whoever it is, on Twitter saying that they'd be in the top 15. So a lot of movement still going on in basketball with that deadline for the return to college happening tonight. You also get Minnesota and Oklahoma City game number 5 with OKC up 3-1 tonight, 7:30 on ESPN for you basketball fans. We go back to college football, back to SEC meetings, and hear from Kalen DeBoer right after LT tells us about the great new bourbon on the market from Company Distilling.
Hey, we will have their master distiller in studio tomorrow. Possibly working on a bonus edition of Bama and Bourbon. So we will give you more update on that. But here is a chance to meet the man behind the bottle, Jeff Arnett, Master Distiller, Company Distilling, and former Master Distiller of Jack Daniels, will be at ABC Store number 80 in Birmingham on May 29th, Store number 53 in Madison, May 30th, signing bottles, telling stories, and talking whiskey. Big news for Alabama. Company Distilling is now available at your ABC stores across the state. If you've been waiting to try whiskey that is as good as the company you keep, this is your moment. Find your bottle, learn more. CompanyDistilling.com/Alabama. Must be 21 or older. Please enjoy responsibly.
All right, Kalen DeBoer at the SEC meetings in Destin. I've done well this year. I haven't called it SEC Media Day once, have I?
I don't think so.
I
don't think so.
It's always my big problem because it looks very SEC Media Days like, because they're all gathered in one place. But SEC meetings in Destin, Kalen DeBoer, on whether being left out of the playoff makes him hesitant to support a 9-game SEC schedule moving forward. Here's DeBoer.
I'm open to whatever. I'm open to hearing the conversations and listening. There's certainly thoughts you have, but I can't say that they're concrete in my mind. You kind of wonder what would happen if other people would have had the chance to play our schedule last year, and that would only get tougher. I know if you played a full SEC 9-game schedule, I know from our end going into this season, we're playing 10 Power 4 games with Florida State and Wisconsin this year on top of the 8 games. So I know we haven't held back at this point on, anything when it comes to playing a tough schedule, non-conference wise. And so you would certainly have to look at those things as it applies if you played 9 regular season games that were all in the SEC. The question I have is, how do you really strengthen the schedule as you get more and more conference games? How do you really kind of understand what the strength schedule is from conference to conference? It's pretty easy with other sports when they play basketball, softball, baseball, whatever it might be, and you have all these non-conference games. So, that's beyond me to figure out. I'm just going to play the games that we can schedule and adjust accordingly as we change, the SEC games, if that's the case.
Boy, the quote that got pulled from that answer got really, really played up, and it was totally different than what he was talking about. That the quote of "I would like to have seen if other people had to play our schedule, what would have happened," made it sound like Kalen DeBoer was basically like, our schedule is what kept us out of the college football playoff.
Didn't sound like that.
And that's not what he was saying right there at all. Because it really wasn't their schedule that kept them out of the college football playoffs. It was losing to 2 of the worst teams on their schedule, Vandy and Oklahoma, that kept them out of the playoffs. But with that said, what he was talking about right there is scheduling philosophy moving forward. And he kind of left it with, that's above my pay grade. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to play.
Yeah, I really wonder how he feels about this, because all these series were in stone before he got there. But, Florida State, Wisconsin, those could have been really, really difficult games 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different now, but when you start talking about a 9-game conference schedule, and I was asked this over the weekend, do you think the SEC will one day go to a 9-game conference schedule? I think the easy way to answer that, do we start seeing 3-loss teams get in?
The answer is yes, we do go to a 9-game conference schedule as soon as you're guaranteed 4 spots in the playoffs.
Now, when you talk this 11 or this 5-11 thing, that doesn't guarantee the 4 spots,
no,
right?
It doesn't. And there's no reason the SEC goes to 9 games at that point. Because you guys have all said on the show today that a 3-loss SEC team is below Boise State.
Well, last year's
Boise State.
Not every year.
Yeah. So why would I want to play a 9th conference game if there's ever a world where a group of 5 team can play a power conference team close and lose and then win the rest of their games and be ranked ahead of me when they don't have to play the same schedule I play? Why would I play 9? As soon as you're guaranteed 4 SEC spots, the SEC will move to 9 games because it's going to be more money from the TV partners. It's going to be less money you're paying Sunbelt schools to come play you. You don't have to schedule that game anymore to pay them $1.5 million, almost $2 million now to come play a game on a Saturday. And I think it'll be the easy move. In fact, it would not surprise me if at the SEC meetings in Destin, they all have agreed to go to 9 games by the end of the week. Once it's announced what the 2026 plan is for the playoffs, if the SEC and the Big Ten are guaranteed 4 spots, I think you'll see very quickly 4 guaranteed spots for the SEC, 4 guaranteed spots for the Big Ten, and the SEC then saying, all right, we're going to have 9 games since we're deciding which 4 teams are going to go to the playoffs within our league anyway. Let's play another league game.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if all 16 coaches know this.
Yep.
Like, if this does get approved, we're going to a 9-game schedule.
We're going to 9 games. Greg Sankey last year wanted 9 games. because of the TV.
Well, Nick
partners.
Saban won in 9 games years ago.
I was about to say, he used to have more drafting partners than maybe he has had recently.
Jeff Levy doesn't win 9 games. Mark Stoops doesn't.
Well, I mean,
Clark Lee doesn't.
For the bottom tier guys, it's just adding another loss.
Do you think Hugh Freeze at this point in his career wants 9?
I think this year he doesn't, but if he can get Auburn up and cooking, he probably would.
Give me Auburn's schedule.
Yeah, I mean, he would probably back off that feeling a little bit.
Yeah. They already get Georgia and and Alabama.
Every year.
And that's not going away when you go 9. That'll be 2 permanents.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg Sankey, by the way, says if it stays at 8, he's got a plan to keep 2 permanent rivals fixtures on the schedule moving forward.
I mean, really, the out-of-conference is bad. I mean, look, the opener, that's a good game. But the other out-of-conference are bad.
But see, okay, for those that are watching, I'm writing them down real quick. Auburn's 8 games. Which one am I missing there?
There are 8 conference games.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Georgia, Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, Vandy, Alabama.
Okay.
Arkansas.
So they've got Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Missouri, Kentucky, Vandy, and Arizona.
Arkansas.
The only possible, Arkansas. The only toughest possible game they don't have
Florida.
is Texas
or Florida,
LSU,
Tennessee,
Florida, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So you're going to be adding. That's 8. That's 12. Who else is not on there?
Missouri.
Missouri's on there.
Oh yeah, Missouri is.
But if you're adding, they got Kentucky. They don't have
South Carolina.
They don't have Mississippi State.
And Mississippi State. So if you added, with the 8 they've got, which includes Georgia and Alabama every year, if you add, there's 5 others
I know.
of the 6 others that you add that you're probably adding a loss.
Well, and by the way, every other year you've got that on the road.
Yeah. So the only team you could add that's not on Auburn's schedule, if you move to 9 games, that you would feel absolutely 100% sure you're going to win the game is Mississippi State. So what are the ping pong ball odds? That's the game you got. There's a chance you got Texas, LSU, Florida, Tennessee, or South Carolina, which is a potential another loss you'd be putting on to their schedule.
Which is why this has been so hard to get across the finish line. And the question becomes, with that Auburn schedule, am I trading Mercer for that game? Am I trading Ball State for that game? Am I trading South Alabama for that game? Or am I trading Baylor for that game? Which one do you think I'm trading?
Well,
hopefully Mercer.
Well, I hope it's Mercer.
Well, if you're keeping the rule in place that you've got to play one Power 5, Power 4
That's right.
conference team.
It can't be Baylor.
Then you can't take Baylor off. So it would either be Ball State, South Alabama, or Mercer. And I wish we'd go ahead and take a step further, save this in case it happens one day.
Okay.
That no games in November can be out-of-conference games unless you already have a rivalry with like the ACC, SEC, the Clemson, South Carolina.
I wish Joel Klatt could hear this because I think you used to argue with Klatt about this.
Well, no, I argue with Klatt, and this
because Klatt used to say this all the time.
Pull up the Big Ten Week 1 schedule.
I think the easy way to do it would just you've got to schedule Power 4.
Yeah,
you have to.
Big Ten Week 1 schedule. This is what I argued with Klatt about for years.
Right.
When he would come on whining about, Alabama's playing Mercer, Auburn's playing Georgia Southern. And I would say, okay, go back to Week 1, where Alabama's playing Florida State, where Auburn's playing Baylor on the road, and the Big Ten is opening up with who?
Well, it's a pretty good year for your argument because it's a really
it's
rough.
this way every year.
All right,
it's actually better this year for the Big Ten than usual because you got Texas, Ohio State, and you got UCLA and Utah.
I'll just do teams that might be contenders. How about that? Nebraska, Cincinnati, we've already discussed.
Yeah, that's a tough
That's a good game. Ohio State, Texas, good game.
Yep.
Illinois is playing Western Illinois.
Yep.
Southern Cal is playing Missouri State.
Yep.
I guess Iowa's a contender. They're playing Albany. UCLA, Utah is a good game.
Yeah, I just mentioned that one.
Yeah.
I knew that would be a good game. I don't think either one of them are contenders this year, but it's a good helmet game.
Oregon, Montana State.
Yeah, Oregon and Montana. It's good FCS.
Penn State's playing Nevada.
Yeah.
Michigan's playing New Mexico.
Michigan's playing who?
New Mexico.
Okay. Joel doesn't bitch about that in Week 1.
Yeah.
But in week 11, if Alabama's playing Mercer, it got a burr under his saddle.
It did. You two argued about that.
Meanwhile, Alabama's playing Florida State on the road.
And I think his solution to that is once you get November, you can only play conference games.
And I'm okay with that when you go to 9.
All right.
But
well, I think you have to when you go to 9.
Again, the only problem with that is some of your out-of-conference rivalries, Florida State, South Carolina.
You have to grandfather those. You make it Power 4 only.
Yeah, Power 4.
Yeah, you got to grandfather those in.
That's the caveat. You have to play a Power 4 team in November.
Okay. A couple more things from the SEC meetings. after LT tells us about Dr. B.
Dr. B, best in the business. I did that non-invasive treatment on the couch last night, 30 minutes to do it 3 times a week. That's all I'm doing right now. Hair has more than doubled in thickness. Right now, T3's got that new test. So easy, painless, affordable, takes 4 seconds to perform. It's going to show which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. There are over 10 categories of agents they use, knowing they will work for you. They will custom compound these agents for you in pill or topical forms. You pick and choose which agents you want. Men and women ordering Hims other products online don't even know if they work. Make the phone call I made, 205-319-0316. Stop wasting your money and critical time while you're losing hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come see Dr. B and that great staff. Find out what will work for you. 205-319-0316. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information on everything, go online, t3hair.net.
Listen, a lot of the things we've talked about today is centered around the fact that the SEC has been so dominant in the past 20 years of college football that there are guardrails and some restrictors being put in place to limit the number of SEC teams that can get into this playoffs, or at least a perception of. And Kirby Smart had this point to make yesterday in Destin.
You know, I look at women's softball, I look at men's basketball, and I look at men's baseball, and it just absolutely blows my mind how the SEC can end up with the teams they end up with in those positions. Okay, now some of those you can say are play-in because maybe they went through a regional, and you look at the women's softball World Series, you look at men's baseball, you look at men's basketball, 13 of 16, 14 of 16 in their larger pools, but when you look at what they're able to do, and there's no outcry, and there's nobody beating a drum saying that it's completely unfair, they do a lot of things based on RPI. They do a lot of things based on strength of schedule, and they reward teams for that. I have a hard time seeing Ole Miss, Alabama, and South Carolina not being in the best teams last year, and that for me is a big part of the SEC. And people want to say, well, you need to play 9 games. You need to play 8 games. We don't really know which one of those is until we know the playoff format. But I beg everybody in this room the question, would we have been better off not playing Clemson last year and playing another SEC game to make 9 games? How would that have been better for the SEC? How would that have been better for Georgia? I don't think it would have. I think those teams you play outside your conference verify your strength.
Well, I don't think Clemson was a good example, but if Georgia would have pulled Tennessee Tech out for that ninth game.
He's not wrong. You couldn't trade Clemson for somebody that wasn't on their schedule and make it a better schedule, but Clemson's not the one you'd be trading right there to your point. You need to be trading
Tennessee Tech or UMass.
Or something like that.
It's a little different.
But his point being that the strength of your conference can be judged in part, like in basketball this year. The SEC was so dominant against really good teams in November and December that there was a perception before you even got to conference play that the SEC is going to get 11, 12, 13 teams in because they kicked some massive butt out of conference. Them beating Clemson just flexes the SEC muscle of, look at them beat Clemson.
But here's the difference. You've got 68 teams in that tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you went 68 deep in college football, you would probably get 12 to 14 teams.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not that many, but you get a lot.
Yeah.
But we do put a whole lot of, you discounted, but I don't want to go back to Boise State here, but you discounted that because of week 1.
Yeah.
We do seem to put a lot of emphasis on what happens week 1 and 2 when the playoffs start in week 15 and 16.
No, teams can get better. They can
They
get
can
worse.
get better,
because
get
of
worse.
injury.
But,
Yeah.
our biggest non-conference games generally come in the first couple of weeks.
No, don't get me wrong. Boise State at Oregon, what they did there was amazing.
Yeah, but I didn't want to
really
make it
good.
about that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the vast majority of the meaningful non-conference games happen in the first 2 weeks of the season, maybe first 3 weeks of the season. And so much changes between week 3 and week 13.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we still put so much emphasis on what happened in week 1, 2, and 3.
Same way in basketball, though. I mean, Auburn and Alabama. Auburn had booked. They were locked in the NCAA tournament before their plane landed coming back from Maui.
Yeah.
They were locked in the NCAA tournament.
You're right about that. You're just playing for seeding at that point.
That's right.
And seeding, as of right now, seems to mean a little bit less in college football.
Yeah. Okay, some fun with Forrester here. We have a couple of things. to get to. First off, can you give me the deluxe, not the one with Ryan and Jeremiah, but the deluxe EA Sports cover?
It's got everybody on it.
This got pointed out last night on social media as I was falling to sleep on my sports couch at around 10:30.
Is this real or is this?
This is the real one.
Okay.
Would you guys look up behind the duck by the yardstick? We've got a freaking official that made it on the cover.
Do we really?
But is it a legitimate
Is it a real official?
Yeah, it's a real official. But I mean,
is it?
Yeah, I don't know who it is, but we got mascots. We've got. Is there any fans in there? I guess we got some fans
there's
in there.
some old boy. I thought it was Joe Kynes for a minute. Just go down that row to our left, right by Smokey. He's got a like a crimson shirt with a white collar sticking out. And he's holding up a license plate. Like I thought,
beat CU.
We got Joe Kynes in there. Yeah, that's the way Joe used to dress. He used to wear that sweatshirt with the collar sticking out.
We got some fans. We got an official is over there. When do we start putting officials on the cover?
Yeah, that is kind
Do we
of
have campus security on here too?
Where?
To the left, just behind the Oregon Duck.
the left behind the Oregon Duck.
It looks like a police.
No, that's the United States military.
Yeah, that's I think Army.
That's Army.
Cadet.
It's a Brinks truck driver.
I see what you're saying there, though. I can see that mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, how does Tim Tebow get such a prominent place?
That is a good question.
I mean, he's row 2. He's row 2.
Band member? We got a band member on there?
So beat CU.
Yeah, go back up to beat CU. Let's focus on the guy that's dressed like Joe Kynes.
Yeah. Is that a Nebraska fan?
No.
It looks like a Nebraska tag, or is that an Alaska tag?
I think it is a Nebraska fan, and he's got a beat CU tag.
Well, what kind of hat's he wearing?
Looks like a Washington State fan.
Well, who's CU that Washington State?
No,
or is that
Washington State,
Utah?
The dude's got the hood with Washington State.
That is
there.
a Nebraska tag, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very confused.
That is a Nebraska tag.
Oh, we got Tulane right behind him. Look at Tulane checking in. John Summerall.
Howard Stern over her shoulder.
Oh, he's big
Toledo's
football
on
fan.
there.
Howard Stern talked about the kick six once, I remember.
Yeah. Anyway, so
my God.
so then we got the that's the deluxe, the one that'll be for the average man that doesn't go deluxe. The two top receivers, according to EA Sports, in the game. That's Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State and Ryan Williams of Alabama. That was the cover we showed you yesterday,
right?
With a lot of logos on the back. And then there's that specialty one that's out. For those fans that want the one with Bill Belichick on the cover. You get this one right here. Bill Belichick catching a mermaid.
That'd be fantastic. She would never approve that. She's not prominent enough.
Yeah. She's blocked. Her abs are blocked by letters.
It's more Bill than it is her. She would never sign off on that.
That one, not real.
Oh, you didn't get our question. I forgot to ask Trey Wallace our question today.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, what is the better chance of happening? North Carolina wins an ACC championship under Belichick's watch, or Belichick has another kid number 4?
By Jordan. Does it have to be by her?
Yeah, probably. That'd be a massive upset, wouldn't it?
I think with their quarterback situation, in both cases, they're going to be shooting blanks.
Wow.
I'm going to go better chance they win a football championship than having a kid.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah, that would be the better chance. Let's see. One more thing I wanted to get to before we take our next break. It was, bowl game, NCAA tournament, baseball tournament. Only a handful of schools made both a college football bowl game, basketball NCAA tournament, and a baseball tournament.
Well, you basically got to be one of the best 68 in those 3 sports.
That's
essentially.
Right. You got to be one of the best 68 in those 3 sports. And just a few logos make it onto the big graphic. One of them happens to be Alabama.
I mean, baseball is what has recently held them back on this one. So
baseball's a 2 seed, not as high as Auburn, as a 1 seed, and a national seed at number 4.
He's got to get them to a bowl, right?
I know. I can't believe football's. What's going to be amazing is what's holding some of these programs back.
In basketball, Elite 8 for Alabama. Auburn went to a Final 4. But in football, down year for Alabama, being the first team out of the playoffs and at 9-3, but still went to a bowl game and lost it. Auburn didn't go to a bowl game, but Alabama, one of the names that checked all the boxes there. Also on that list, Vanderbilt.
How about that?
A rare
Clark Lee doing work.
A rare football, basketball, baseball run for Vandy there.
Tim Corbin's like, guys, I've been here all along.
Been waiting on you.
Don't know where y'all been.
Yeah. we're always checking our box.
That's right.
Here are the logos.
Okay.
Alabama, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Florida, and Vandy out of the SEC. Georgia out of the SEC. North Carolina, Clemson, Louisville, Duke, and then Oregon out of the Big Ten. I don't see a Big 12.
No, hey, the Big 12.
The Big 12 got shut out?
Yeah, they got shut out. The Big Ten's only got one.
Yep.
The Big Ten's is only Oregon?
That's
only Oregon.
Yeah, and the ACC is right behind the SEC, but the SEC, that's complete domination.
Big 12 used to be really good in baseball.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you've lost a lot.
I
in the
know,
Big
they
12.
took it away.
First of all, you took Texas and Oklahoma away.
Well, I was talking to Scott about that earlier this morning about the golf with Auburn losing in the NCAA tournament. I was like, man, the Big 12 used to be awesome in golf. They had Texas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. I was like, by the way, the SEC took most of that away from them.
Yeah, Oklahoma State playing Virginia, who upset Auburn for the championship today. Put money on Oklahoma State, I assume.
What's interesting is, like, some of these programs, the program that's holding them back, like in Iowa State, Auburn, I mean, football is the one that held them out of this, which how you can't be one of the best. How many bowl games are there?
A lot. You know, I was looking back at
28?
some season. I think I was looking at the 1965 season because of that picture I showed you yesterday of Bob Devaney and Bear Bryant before the 66 Orange Bowl on January 1st. And I look back, and there were, I think the total bowl games were
12
6,
or 14?
6 or 7.
That was it?
Pull up 1965 bowl games or 1965 college football
I got
season.
You. Yeah.
I mean, the number of bowl games we used to have, and in a way, you know, some people want to go back to that, and then Brown would always say, why do we want less college football?
I do say that, but the bowl games were certainly more meaningful back then. There's no doubt. All right, your major bowls were the Cotton Sugar Rose Orange.
Yep, all on January 1st.
Your other bowls, as they call them on Wikipedia, Sun, Gator, Bluebonnet, and Liberty.
Yep, so 8.
Boy, the Rose is the only out west bowl.
Yep. We started pumping them into Florida at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Sun's out
you
west.
got to get people to show up, right?
Yeah. I mean, you had to be. Yeah. I mean, you had some, like, in the Liberty that year, Ole Miss and Auburn played. I mean, you'd have conference versus conference sometimes.
Yeah. Ole Miss and Auburn played a Sugar Bowl before.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We've talked about a ton of stuff. A lot more to get to in the final half hour of the show that includes trash. Show being brought to you today by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. That look back to the old bowl days of the 1960s when we only had 8 bowls. You saw it clearly thanks to our friends at Michelson.
Yeah, to see life in high definition. Make the phone call that I made over 2 decades ago, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. I had the 2200 vision, was legally blind without the aid of contacts. Now 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them The Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or michelson-laservision.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
As we all know, there's no off season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Auburn, join us over on thebarnauburn.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on thebarnauburn.com.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1, find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2, stream it now. Miss Hour 3, download it for later. Miss Hour 4, well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
It's bow time. Tired of choosing between sweet and savory? Why not have both? Introducing Bojangles' new chicken and bowberry waffles. The bold Cajun chicken filet you love, now drizzled with a bowberry honey glaze and sandwiched between two warm waffles. Which means your favorite meal of the day just met your new favorite dish. And lucky for you, it's served all day. But it's only here for a limited time, so try chicken and bowberry waffles at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
I'm attorney Alexander Shunnarah, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Before we get to our Bo Tender moment of the day, Forrester has sent me a screen grab. The coaches are in EA Sports college football this year. Do you think Ryan Day looks good in his video game image or not?
Well, if you're going to bring it up, no.
The real one's on the left, by the way.
Okay, is the beard dyed?
It's in the game. If it's in the game, LT, it's in the game.
In the game?
Yep.
We cannot get statues to look right.
Do they get paid for their likeness?
That's a good question.
I would assume this is what I think is happening.
He looks like somebody in the computer version. I can't figure it out. Lance, you're really, really good at this. There's somebody he looks like.
A little former Alabama assistant, now USF head coach Brian Hodgson.
There is some Brian Hodgson in there.
I don't know who else.
Gerard Butler and Den of Thieves.
Yeah,
that's where I was going to go. Butler and Den of Thieves. We don't have a Kirby Smart one yet. We haven't seen that floating around. I can't wait to see Kirby in his haircut.
I do think Day drops a few LBs in his computer version, so he's probably happy with that.
I thought he looked skinnier on the other side.
So?
Yeah, I think he looks thicker in the game.
I wonder if you get a chance to improve it. Like, give me more.
No.
Give me more pecs.
I thought about
muscles.
this today when who was it? One of the coaches we heard from on the podium. Hey, the guys, and maybe it was Lane Kiffin. The guys in here, the media, are the ones that watch the games. Like, they should be the ones that are voting on the 1 through 16. How different do you think coaches' attitudes are towards the media if those guys are actually the ones that get you on the back end of 12 through 16? How accessible are these guys on their interviews?
Hey, Jim, you got an AP vote this year. Coach DeBoer would love to have you over for dinner.
I mean, Brown, would you not? If Dunaway had an AP vote all of these SIDs that you reach out to or all these coaches, would you not put it in there? Oh, by the way, we're the next round out of Birmingham, and one of our hosts has a vote every year.
I used to do that way back in the day when I produced Herb and Ray. Ray Mellick and Herb Winches when I was first working at Jocks. In the summer, Ray was a Heisman Trophy voter, so I would find somebody's top 10 Heisman candidates list, and I would just go down the list and call these schools. Like, Heisman voter Ray Mellick does a radio show here in Birmingham, and most of the time they would put him on. And I would say, we'd like to have so-and-so on. He's a Heisman candidate. I'll never forget our buddy Jeff Purinton, who is now with Learfield. He was the athletic director at Arkansas State, was associate athletic director at Alabama, but at the time he was the media relations guy at Florida State. And I can't remember the player, but I called, and Puritan answers the phone, and I'm like, hey, I'd like to get Lance Taylor on, okay? I was like, Ray Mellick's a Heisman voter. We're trying to talk to Heisman candidates. He goes, who's got Lance Taylor as a Heisman candidate? He's probably like the 10th best player on our team.
Yeah. Puritan said that?
100%. Didn't know me from Adam.
Do you remember who the player was?
I wish I could. It was a running back, and he was on somebody's Heisman list.
And it was Florida State?
Yeah, Florida State.
I would have gone. I thought Puritan was going to say, so I should book him on 993 other shows too?
That would have been the proper response.
Yeah, there's 994 voters.
Yeah.
No, that is very Puritan, though.
He's like, who's got him as a Heisman candidate? He might be the 10th best player on our team.
That is so true.
Some radio producer in
So
Birmingham, Alabama.
did you get the interview?
Oh, yeah. I think Puritan was happy to put him on. He's like, nobody's going to
Do you remember how he ended up that year?
Yeah, I really don't. I wish I could remember the
You
player.
need him to do a half hour? He'll do a half hour with you. He's surely not going to practice
Do you remember
today.
the year?
Oh, it'd have been in the early 2000s.
I can find this.
Let's do our Bo Tender moment of the day, brought to you by our friends at Bojangles.
Yeah, Bojangles reminds you that you love some dipping sauces, right? But you're also going to love what goes with the dipping sauces. From sweet to heat, they've got 7 sauces that will definitely add a little extra flavor to every bite. Nothing pairs better than the hand-breaded tenders. So if you're looking for sweet, try honey mustard, add some tang with barbecue. If you're looking for some heat, then try creamy buffalo or peach honey pepper. If you're craving smooth and creamy, our house-made ranch, jalapeno ranch, or classic Bo sauce are ready and waiting. So head to Bojangles and order some hand-breaded tenders with your favorite sauce today. It's Bo time.
NFL quarterbacks, great, small, tight fraternity. Hall of Fame quarterbacks, tight fraternity. Nothing says tender more than Terry Bradshaw's thoughts on Aaron Rodgers one day possibly being a Pittsburgh Steeler. Here's Terry Bradshaw on 103.7 The Buzz.
What do you think about possibly Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback? That's a joke. He shouldn't. That is just, to me, is a joke. What are you going to do? Bring him in for 1 year? Are you kidding me? I mean,
that's not the Steelers' way, right?
No, man. That guy needs to stay in California and go, somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the guys out there.
100%. These guys on the show, Mr. Bradshaw, know I'm not a fan of his. We've been around each other personally, and he was not a kind person.
Now, he does not. I had to go over and introduce myself to him. He's not. I had to go, hey, Aaron, I'm Terry Bradshaw. I know he knows me, but I just felt like I better tell him who I am. Yeah. And not, you walk in there and you get in his presence and you feel like it's going to start snowing.
Terry Bradshaw's Terry Tender moment of the day.
Yeah, I heard some of it this morning on another show, and it was difficult to decipher what he was talking about. That was better audio right there.
Go chew bark.
Yeah. Whisper to the gods.
Whisper to the gods.
So what does that mean? He thinks it's going to snow if he stays around? What is it?
He's cold.
He's cold, yeah.
He's cold to everyone.
A lot of,
I think we know that.
A lot of Rodgers bashing there.
Lorenzo Booker.
I don't think that was who it was.
I think that was.
I can't believe that it's dragging on this long, though. That the Steelers have let it go this long, because now
They said that the OTAs were the deadlines, the involuntary workouts that have now started.
That's right. So clearly that was not the deadline.
And they're waiting a little bit longer, but they have opened up discussions with Kirk Cousins' people and with the Atlanta Falcons.
Boy, the Falcons.
But
you want to talk about billing them out of a crap contract if they had to go take Kirk Cousins off the Falcons' hands?
I think that's more likely.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Steelers fan, you cannot stand pat.
And Rodgers has said this week that he does want to retire a Green Bay Packer, that one day he hopes to get offered the one-day contract and goes back and retires as a Green Bay
Well,
Packer.
he ain't going to retire as a Jet.
So he's thinking now with retirement in the forefront.
Yeah.
So there is some belief that maybe with the moves that Pittsburgh made, he says in the same interview he does not want to be a New Orleans Saint, that him getting a one-day contract with the Packers and announcing his retirement is on the table, maybe more than playing with Pittsburgh.
I find this Steelers team really fascinating. You know, they just did their NFL FPI ratings on ESPN, and the Steelers are right there in the middle at 17. And you know Mike Tomlin wants to keep this streak of never being below 500 intact. With the current quarterbacks they got on that roster, I don't think that's possible. I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers is going to be the difference maker, but Aaron Rodgers and or Kirk Cousins would be better options. So I'm not going to be surprised if Mike Tomlin, I don't want to say a panic move, but just to continue this streak, make sure one of these veterans is his guy.
All right, Braves get blanked last night in Philly, 5:45 tonight. Bryce Harper left with an elbow contusion. We'll see if he's back tonight. By the way, the Braves, a third of the way through the Major League season now, as far as their projected win totals and where they are right now, only Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Colorado are further off the pace to their projected win totals than Atlanta is.
That's some bad company right there.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime you're in the company with Colorado, it's bad. But
Number one in Major League Baseball, way ahead of their projected win total is?
Detroit.
The Detroit Tigers. 11 games ahead of where they were projected to be right now. That's a third of the way through the season. Oh, yes, Shohei Ohtani homered again last night.
Cubs have got to be close to that, though, right?
I didn't look at the whole field, but I think the Cubs are ahead of
way
where they
ahead.
were projected. Shohei Ohtani homered again, the first to 20 home runs, a third of the way through the season. Right now projected at hitting 59 home runs this year is Ohtani. He is a machine. All that while rehabbing as a pitcher all at the same time. All right. Before we get to trash, tell us about Alexander Shunnarah, trial attorney.
Alexander Shunnarah, trial attorneys. Dunaway, who you need to call when you are in need of a trial attorney. You pay nothing unless they win your case. Shunnarah.com, Shunnarah.com. One of Alexander's missions was to create a firm that could handle any issue his community faced. Well, they now handle not only any personal injury claim, but claims for fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, disability, workers' compensation, and a host of other claims. You pay nothing unless they win your case. Shunnarah.com. That is Shunnarah.com.
What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir. Oh, yes. I see that you know your judo well. Get your hand off my penis!
LT's Trash is presented by Bud Light.
That was a mess till the very end.
Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Our friends at Bud Light.
Jeeves, did you see any of the Annabelle franchise, the horror doll or whatever?
I saw the first one, but I haven't seen the sequel.
This from USA Today. This is pretty crazy. Is a demonic doll touring the U.S. to blame for the mishaps in Louisiana? Have you heard about any of this stuff?
No, I haven't. Oh no, wait. Didn't they move the Annabelle doll that was originally in Ed and Lorraine Warren's place to take it on tour?
Yeah, listen to this. Ghost City Tours hosted and sold tickets to the public to see Annabelle, the haunted Raggedy Ann doll that inspired the movie Annabelle, which is part of the Conjuring universe. However, despite the success of the sold-out event, the internet began to blame the escape of the 10 inmates from New Orleans and a fire that destroyed the Nottoway plantation on Annabelle's visit. Ghost City Tours teamed up with Annabelle's caretakers, an extension of the now-closed Warren Occult Museum, while they were touring the U.S. with the allegedly haunted doll. Doll was originally on display at the Occult Museum, which permanently closed to the public in 2019 after Lorraine Warren, one of the original owners, died. Now, Annabelle's tour stopped in several states and cities, including the Ghost City Tours office in New Orleans, May 13th and the 14th, where fans of the paranormal were able to visit Annabelle and learn more about her origin story. Now, the event immediately sold out, but what happened after that, 3 days after they moved Annabelle, one of the most haunted dolls, from Monroe, Connecticut to New Orleans, the 11 inmates got out and the plantation burned to the ground. And everybody is saying it's because of the curse of Annabelle. You guys believe it?
I don't. It sounds like
Coincidence?
There's some coincidental timing, and somebody is trying to take the heat off themselves. So they're like, could be this Annabelle doll.
I don't like things like that, though.
You don't?
No.
You don't like things that burn down?
No, I just don't like
haunted dolls?
Like haunted dolls and things like that. The scariest thing you ever told me, Lance, was the night you spent at the Amish farm for that punishment, and you told me that those handmade dolls.
Oh, they were above the bed.
Above the bed that looked at you all night.
Well, this is the same thing. So in 1970, here's the origin. Mom gave her daughter Donna, 28-year-old nursing student, and the now infamous doll, according to the New England Society of Psychic Research. She purchased Annabelle from a hobby store. Donna and her roommate Angie noticed weird paranormal activity happening around the apartment, which began to escalate. Legend has it the paranormal activity only became worse. The doll was thought to be inhabited by the spirit of a young girl. That thing's running around at night.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And until they moved it, it was locked in a glass case.
There it is.
Positively, absolutely do not touch.
Yeah, and then we touched it.
And then we touched it and moved it around.
Yeah, that's they literally told you not to do that.
Staying all away from that. I've learned some things over the weekend. Like, I didn't realize that Lake Lanier is supposed to be the most haunted lake in the world.
You know, we dropped off one of our buddies on the golf trip on the way back through Atlanta. He was going to help his mom and dad. They got a house on Lake Lanier, and he talked about that it's a haunted lake, more deaths on that lake than anywhere else.
Yeah, there's over 700 since 1956 when it became.
So I just heard that independently of you in the van as we were letting this guy off on the lake there. And I was like, oh, Lake Lanier is...
That's where you and I went to play golf that time, you remember?
Yep. No, I was haunted that day.
The Appalachian Mountains are supposedly really haunted. Yeah, a lot of this stuff.
We're close to a lot of those things.
Hey, we've got an update. Police in Norway say a crew member falling asleep while on duty led to the massive cargo ship barely missing the retiree's home that we talked about last week on Trash on the Table.
Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, Dunaway, I don't know if you saw this. This is a real image.
Yeah. I don't think my home insurance... Does it have a ship crashing into my home?
So. Sir, can you explain that to me again, please?
I do not. So the person name not made public was identified as the ship's second officer. According to the BBC, quote, 5 meters further south, it would have entered the bedroom of homeowner Johan Helberg. Helberg had been sleeping when the roughly 440-foot vessel collided into his backyard around 5 a.m. local time.
So the ship captain fell asleep. I would have guessed that ships of this size have some sort of like GPS navigation, that we're not depending on the captain to hold the big wheel like we're on a steamboat in the 1850s. I mean, wouldn't you think this would be impossible to happen on a ship?
Well, the navigator did testify that he, quote, fell asleep prior to the incident. The prosecutor said, quote, it does happen, but it's not something that should happen. We've got regulations that are supposed to create barriers and prevent ships from running aground because someone falls asleep.
That's exactly what I'm saying, yeah.
I know this is a real image. It just doesn't make sense to me that at some point it's going to be shallow enough that it should be.
The fact it got that far on land, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, because I was on a cruise that started bottoming out around the Mobile Bay, and like everything was jerking and glasses and things were falling off tables.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to shoot holes in every story we're doing today, but it sounds like the boat company made up a very convenient excuse.
Yeah, probably.
He was not drunk on vodka.
No, he fell asleep.
He was
clearly.
asleep.
I can only hope that we've got pictures for this next story. A man in Polk County shot and killed by deputies on Monday after they say he was armed with garden shears and acting erratically after surviving an apparent gator attack.
This is a Florida man here, right?
Yes.
All right,
County Sheriff's Office deputies began searching for Timothy Schultz, 42 years old, just before 6 a.m. after a convenience store clerk reported he was acting, quote, bizarre. Now, deputies spent about 40 minutes looking for the man. Schultz began swimming in an alligator-infested lake nearby, residents told officials. A witness tried to throw Schultz a life preserver, and another witness said Schultz growled at them when they tried to help. Witnesses told deputies an alligator was spotted close to him as he swam across the lake. When Schultz emerged from the lake, he had an apparent alligator bite, began walking between houses, holding the pair of garden shears. He then used a brick to attempt to break into a resident's truck. Witness told detectives they saw the suspect run at deputies with the shears. He was tased twice, didn't stop. That's when he climbed into the passenger side of a patrol vehicle trying to get a deputy's rifle. 2 deputies identified as a trainee and his trainer opened fire on the suspect, killing him. Boy, I tell you what, if you're a trainee.
Yeah, this is a tough way, first day on the job.
It's like being your first day at the pit.
Yeah. How did it go? Shot and killed a man.
Killed a man already. I didn't think we'd do that day one.
Judge said Schultz had a lengthy criminal history that included several arrests for methamphetamine.
Boy, Florida man never disappoints.
Never.
It's a new story every time with them, too. It's not like the same old, same old.
You know, the only thing worse about flying would be flying standing up.
Like a subway, but you have to stand up?
Money-saving move that is sure to divide many holiday makers, but several budget airlines reportedly set to introduce standing-only seating options. According to Instagram account at Entrepreneurship Quote, which has 2.8 million followers, the bike-style padded seats, which allow passengers to lean at an angle without completely sitting down, could be introduced as early as 2026. Now, these seats, which are being introduced by manufacturers Avon Interiors, will increase passenger capacity by 20%. Now, the upright seating is called Skyrider 2.0, initially unveiled at the Aircraft Interiors Expo 2018 in Hamburg. Horse-saddled style seating is an improved version of the concept it tried and failed to launch in 2010. I really want nothing to do with this.
Nope.
How
uncomfortable
does
that seem?
Yeah. Well, I would say this, that after one bout with turbulence, it'll be like, excuse me, ma'am, can I get some more peanuts?
Is that Lloyd from Entourage?
Did you say peanuts, sir?
It does look like Lloyd.
Lloyd, do I get to walk around the plane during the flight, or do I have to stay like right here in this area?
I mean, how do you eat anything? I guess the tray is in front of you, but
no, I mean,
he's not standing; he's sitting. Am I the only one that sees this? He's not standing.
Yeah, but it's not
I
a
guess
comfortable.
It's dependent on height. It's like the Georgia Scorcher at Six Flags in Atlanta.
Okay.
Where you stand up and you've got the thing over you.
This
Like
is
some
space
people
saving.
barely touch,
Yeah,
and then
I mean,
some people are flat-footed.
They call this standing seating. He's literally sitting, and it's a very uncomfortable sitting posture, but he's sitting.
You think Melton could
It's
fit
still
on
a
that
seat.
thing?
No, Melton could fit on
Well,
that
no,
thing.
see, we've got two rows in space of one.
Oh, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
But let's don't call it what it's not. This is not a standing option. You're
Yeah.
sitting still, because I guarantee you during flight, he's got to sit on that stupid seat with his belt on, right? They don't let him just walk around the flight.
No, he's
because-
got to have his belt on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
this is squatting. We'll call this
Yeah,
squatting.
you can call it whatever you want, but he's still sitting in a seat. Yeah. It ain't standing.
Oh, can you imagine
And it's
two
terribly
big
uncomfortable.
ones on each side of you?
Oh, how miserable would that be? I mean, even if it were just the Birmingham to Atlanta flight, I couldn't do that.
Are you still watching the studio on Apple?
Yes.
I have not seen the newest episode.
Wait, is there one after the presentation?
Are you talking about the Golden Globes?
Nope. The one where they had the great party with the Hollywood buffet, and then
Yes,
part
there is
two of
one.
That.
There is
I
one.
watched that one.
Okay,
yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But this is what they make fun of, how bad the concepts in Hollywood actually are. And these are the movies that our man Tyler back there, Jeeves, is going to see. It looks like Mattel and TriStar Pictures developing a live-action and animated hybrid film based on Mattel's classic Whack-A-Mole game.
Yeah. No, in the studio, it's Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid Man.
So they're just copying this.
But
No, I'm just saying they're-
Whack-A-Mole's a real
Yeah.
movie. It's coming.
Oh,
out.
yeah. This is just, I mean, their version of this is Kool-Aid.
Can't imagine.
People just trying to grab onto the old Barbie trend that made a fortune. Whack-A-Mole, quote, more than a game, it's a laugh-out-loud battle of reflexes that has brought joy and little chaos to families for 5 decades, said Mattel's film president Robbie Brenner. We're beyond excited to team up with TriStar Pictures and turn the iconic experience into a wild, action-packed ride for the big screen.
I don't see how that works.
I don't either. Mattel Films' Master of the Universe is in production in London. Travis Knight directing a cast now that includes the Masters of the Universe. Nicholas Galtazine is going to be He-Man. Allison Brie, Evil Lynn. Jared Leto is going to be Skeletor. And Idris Elba is going to be the Man-at-Arms.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a good cast.
They're also doing a Matchbox live-action film. Film stars John Cena and Jessica Biel. So they're doing a lot of these crap movies. Quick cash grab that they're going to get burned on some of these.
Yeah,
Steves.
that one does not sound good.
Yeah, but he will see it for sure. And that is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We leave you today with Andy Staples' projection of the college football playoffs straight seeding for this upcoming year. Andy from On3 Sports threw this out earlier today, how this will look more realistic to the seeding process with Texas as a 1. Number 2 seed would be, help me on the graphic there, where's the 2?
The
2 is Penn State, 3 is Notre Dame, 4 is Clemson. So that would be straight seeding. And then you go to the 5, which is Ohio State, 6 is Alabama, 7 is Georgia, 8 is Oregon, 9 is Florida, 10 there is Texas Tech, Brownie. Every time I see Texas Tech, I think of you.
Hey, it's working if they're the 10 seed.
11 is Miami. 12 is his group of 5, which is James Madison, the last and lowest seed there with James Madison.
Well, he's got a lot of expectation for Penn State.
He does, the number 2 overall seed. But your first round games, more realistic with Oregon and Florida is an 8-9. Texas Tech and Georgia is a 7-10. Alabama, Miami is a 6-11. And Ohio State is James Madison is a 12. And then it makes sure there's nobody that's got a free pass after the second round. You know what I mean? Last year, with Arizona State and Boise State sitting out there in the next round, you almost felt like if you won that first round, you had a pass in the second round to get to the next round, to the semis, and that case goes away. Andy's projection. We were a lot more excited about that 12-team projection last year when it was the first time we saw it. We'll take that.
Yeah, when we never seen a playoff, we're like, man, look how good these games are going to be.
Now it's like, okay, those are college football games.
That's right.
That's our show today. We're back with you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time. Don't forget, you got trivia tonight with our friends at Odie's. Don't forget, you got the Meltdown coming up at 2 o'clock today. And don't forget, a new Pennant Grace returns tomorrow to recap the Phillies series. That's at 12:15 on a Thursday. I'm Jim Dunaway with LTD&B. Actually, I said my name twice because I'm the D of D&B. All the guys behind the scenes. Don't forget, at Next Round Live, like, subscribe, thumbs up, and follow us on all social media platforms. Until next time, God bless you, and God bless America.